Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Global Evolution. My explosion rate is 100 million points high. Chapter 31. Nothing. They were said to be two gangsters from the next town. I heard them calling me out outside, but as soon as I walked out, I saw that they had been scared away by scalpers. Yi Demon obviously did not realize this. He didn't pay much attention to what the matter had to do with Yi Bai. Don't tell me, although this scalper is too lazy to eat, he is still quite suitable to be a watchdog and can bluff people. Liang Qianru on the side also said. That's good. Anyway, if someone comes looking for you in the future, don't worry about it and don't go out. It's best to hide. Hearing this, Yi Bai also knew that this was probably just a call from the Lu family to the next town. A gangster who just wants to harass his family. But with the scalpers guarding the gate, it is true that ordinary gangsters can't do much. He was somewhat relieved. What's wrong? Did you offend someone outside? Liang Qianru was very keen and looked at Yi Bai directly and asked. Well, I've offended someone. Anyway, listen to me and hide away if someone comes to you. Yi Bai said the seriousness without hiding it. As you know, there are awakened people everywhere now. Some people are even more crazy. There is no need for us to confront them head on. That's true. Our town is now on duty. Strangers are not allowed to come in. We are just afraid that some awakened people who have just gained strength will lose control and cause havoc everywhere. Yi Demon also nodded and said. That's right, one more thing is worse than one less thing. Just hide if you can. Yi Bai said with a smile. Then you should pay attention to yourself, keep a low profile when you go back to Yuncheng, and stop causing trouble everywhere. Liang Qianru also warned. Come on, you still don't know that your son and I usually walk around when we see dogs. How can I cause trouble? Yi Bai shrugged. Strictly speaking, he did not take the initiative to cause trouble. It was the Lu family. Provoked him. Finished the meal. Then I saw the ox walking in and tapping the TV with its hooves. You really have to watch the prime time show on time every day. Liang Qianru was a little impatient and cursed, but she still turned on the TV for the scalper. Good guy, does a cow like to watch this kind of thing? Yi Bai took a look and found that the TV was actually a romantic drama from Mango Channel. The scalper was half lying on the ground, looking at it with great interest. Your mother watched it and followed it. Now that your mother doesn't like the plot and won't follow it, she still wants to watch it. Yi Demon also said somewhat helplessly. It's quite good to understand human nature. Yi Bai observed this scalper with interest. He seemed to get along well with his parents and was quite obedient. With this guy guarding the house, he felt more at ease. And the scalper seemed to be able to feel that Yi Bai was watching it. He turned over a little arrogantly, and even deliberately blocked the TV to prevent Yi Bai from watching. I'm afraid that seeing Liang Qianru being too good to Yi Bai, it might become a little jealous and get angry with Yi Bai. You stinky cow, you gave me such a bad look. Yi Bai walked over, smiled and slapped this guy's head with his palm. Moo, Huang Newton snorted dissatisfied. He wanted to argue with Yi Bai, but when he heard Liang Qianru's footsteps coming back from the kitchen, he gave up and just continued to watch his TV seriously. After a while, Liang Qianru brought out a plate of egg noodles to the scalper. The scalper immediately became happy, spreading his hooves, eating noodles and watching TV, as happy as a god. Dad, please come out here. I want you to help me pack something. Yi Bai looked amused and started to do his own business. What do you want to fight? Do you want to get some weapons for self-defense? Yi Demon couldn't help being a little surprised, but he still walked to the blacksmithing place while talking. He basically responded to his son's requests. Yes, actually I have awakened my talent recently, which is considered a fighting talent. Yi Bai nodded and took out the small thunder bow and said, I recently got a good bow, but I don't have any arrows, so I miss you, Dad. You give me some. In fact, he has been thinking that the light arrows shot out of thin air by the little Lion bow are a bit weak after all, and it should be possible to add arrows. Since his father can blacksmith, he might as well let him give it a try. Let me take a look at your bow. Yi Demon is a blacksmith, and he can see the extraordinary quality of this little thunder bow at a glance. Dad, please hold it. This bow is still a bit heavy. Yi Bai handed over the little Lion bow. It's okay, your dad and I have probably awakened my talent, and my strength has increased a lot. Yi Demin said, taking the bow and looking at it. A look of surprise appeared on his face. The craftsmanship of this bow is so advanced. Who is this? How is it made? And this material, you can't tell what it is made of. I got this bow by chance. It's called Shaolayan bow, Yi Bai said with a smile. I can probably understand some of the characteristics of this bow, but the craftsmanship is too high. I don't know if I can make matching arrows. Yi Demin looked at it for a while and said in deep thought, Dad, just do your best. It's okay, Dad, just give me some arrows. Yi Bai said, this little thunder bow is not that powerful without arrows. In theory, it should be even more powerful if you add some arrows. That won't work. It's too bad to be worthy. Yi Demin shook his head and just said, okay, I'll look for materials. You go back and talk to your mother first. Dad, I have some materials here, see if they are useful. Hearing this, Yi Bai took out the materials that he had exploded when he killed the mutated lobster. Well, I think these things are very good. They can be useful. Yi Demin looked at them, his eyes flashing, like a cook who saw good ingredients. Okay, then it's hard work, Dad. Seeing this, Yi Bai knew that his dad was preparing to do something big, and he was a little embarrassed, so he made his dad work hard as soon as he came back. Originally, he wanted to teach his parents the breathing method first, but he also knew his father's character. Once he started, he couldn't end it casually. Therefore, he did not continue to disturb. I'm at home now, so I'm not in a hurry. Return to the hall. The scalper was still watching TV with relish, but he had finished eating the noodles and kicked the stainless steel basin aside. His mother, Liang Qianru, was washing dishes and packing things. She would probably have to make a bed for him later, so she probably wouldn't have much time for the time being. So, Yi Bai sat cross-legged on the sofa. Start practicing the Great Thunder sound breathing method. Because of the Liu family's affairs, although he is still nominally number 1 in Yuncheng, he is still very eager to improve his strength. After all, with the intensification of the great changes and the revival of spiritual energy, he wants to maintain his strength. Advantage is not easy. Moreover, he wanted to fight against the entire Liu family with one person, and he needed even more crushing strength. Sit cross-legged, close your eyes, and then take a deep breath. The familiar rhythm of breathing will begin to operate automatically. At this moment, Yi Bai seemed to see the lightning molecules floating in the sky and the earth glowing brightly. And as he breathed, it gradually entered his body from Tianling Gai. Breathe like thunder. All the bone cells in his body were buzzing, and there was a natural force tempering his body. For a long time, Yi Bai felt refreshed and his strength seemed to have improved a bit. He opened his eyes. Then he saw that the scalper had approached him and was looking at him with curious eyes, as if he wanted to ask him what he was doing. Want to learn? I'll teach you. Yi Bai smiled slightly. This scalper seemed to Yi Bai to be very spiritual, at least he listened to his mother's words. He estimated that his mother had awakened the skills related to animal taming, and this scalper was equivalent to his mother's thug. You know, it is the Liu family that he has offended now. With just one phone call, he can call gangsters from the next town to harass his family. His parents are not good at fighting, and he can't stay at home all the time. He would feel relieved if he had this scalper to look after the house. I just don't know if the breathing technique used when fighting monsters will be effective on scalpers. My parents are still busy now, but I can do some experiments on this scalper to avoid any mistakes when I teach them to my parents. The scalper seemed to understand what Yi Bai said. He nodded at first, but then shook his head violently and looked away, looking very arrogant. Yi Bai also saw that he wanted to learn scalping, but he thought that the relationship with him was not good, so he said he would not learn it. This is indeed the mentality of a child. Seeing this, Yi Bai couldn't help but smile brightly. He doesn't talk much either. Walked directly to the door. The scalper saw that Yi Bai didn't come to comfort him. After a while, he realized that Yi Bai had walked out. It seemed that there was still a sound coming from outside. It was a little curious, so it quietly walked to the door and wanted to take a peek. But when he saw it, his eyes immediately became fixed. Because at this time, Yi Bai was practicing the strong bull demon fist. This set of boxing techniques was originally related to cows. The cow looked very close and familiar to him, so he couldn't help but stand up at the door, stretch out his hooves and follow the gestures. Come out and learn from me. Once you learn how to do it, I'll ask Mom to cook delicious food for you. Yi Bai naturally discovered that the scalper was stealing lessons and said with a smile. The scalper was still a little shy at first, but when he heard that there was something delicious, he held his head high and walked out. My boxing technique is called the Strong Bull Demon Fist, and you have to follow my breathing rhythm. You should be able to feel that there is something different when I breathe. Yi Bai began to teach, step by step, in person demonstrate to scalpers. Because the scalper has watched a lot of TV series, it now has a relatively deep understanding of human language. It was a little unable to keep up with Yi Bai at first, but its talent is amazing, and it didn't take long to be able to keep pace with Yi Bai. Breathing synchronized. Two shadows were walking one behind the other in the yard. One of the shadows in particular was a standing ox. If other people saw this, their jaws would probably drop. However, Yi Bai also found that he seemed unable to directly teach the Big Thunder breathing method. To practice this breathing method, it seems that you must first practice the Shaolin breathing method to lay a solid foundation for your body. So for the time being, scalpers can only follow Shaolin's breathing method. However, the power of Shaolin's breathing method is already quite good, and the improvement in scalpers' physical fitness is already huge. It's just that the breathing method is very difficult to learn. It seems that scalpers haven't gotten started in a long time, but the powerful cow magic fist seems to be a bit tailor-made. Later, when the two tried to fight, Yi Bai actually vaguely felt that his powerful bull demon fist was somewhat suppressed by this scalper. If he wanted to defeat the opponent, he could only rely on hard power to suppress it. After all, he has practiced the Great Thunder sound breathing technique, and his physical fitness is still better than that of Huang Niu. Although he also taught Huang Niu the subtle body technique, it seems that it is not that easy to use with Huang Niu's body, and the effect is not great. Moo. This made Scalper look quite proud, as if he thought he had won. In the end, Yi Bai ducked out of the way, sat directly on the scalper, and knocked it hard on the head. Only then did the scalper know why the flowers were so red. As for the tiger roaring golden bell, it seems that this scalper cannot cultivate, because after all, its body structure is different from that of humans, and its defense relies entirely on a piece of cowhide. After cultivation, only a layer of golden light can be seen on the skin. Far from what Yi Bai used, a whistling sound could be heard above the body, like a big bell shrouded in it. No matter how many bulls collided with it, it would be difficult to shake it. In general, after Yi Bai's teaching, the current scalper's strength has improved a lot. Yi Bai estimated that unless an awakener of Master Yang's level arrived, the scalper would be able to handle it easily. In fact, even if Master Yang is resurrected, he should not be a match for the scalper. After all, the scalper's cowhide defense is not so easily broken by the wind blade. The moon is at the zenith. It was already past 10 o'clock in the evening. Xiao Bai, your bed is made. You are tired after coming back today. Go take a shower and rest. Liang Qianru's voice came from inside. Here we come. Yi Bai agreed, then touched the ox's head and said with a smile, okay, I'll learn here tonight. I won't be here in 2 days, you have to help me guard this house. Don't let anyone hurt Mom and Dad. The scalper didn't seem to reject Yi Bai so much after that night, and barked twice to show that he knew. Yi Bai glanced at the blacksmith shop and saw that his father was still working hard to help him make arrows for the little Leian bow. He didn't bother her, just went back to the inner room and laughed and chatted with his mother. After taking a shower, he returned to his room and lay on the bed. A lot of things actually happened during the day today. It was originally just an ordinary class reunion. First, 2 mutated lobsters came, and then they had a conflict with Lu Jinghui over the matter of awakening the crystal core. Later, it actually alarmed Lu Wanzhong, the leader of the Lu family. The Lu family first sent Luo Diang's 5 awakened ones to kill him. After they were killed by him, a super awakened person named Master Yang came. Today alone, he killed 6 people. What made Yi Bai feel most uneasy was that the Lu family dared to let anyone touch his family. Now that he thinks about it, he still has fluctuations in his heart. If you dare to touch his family, it will be a life or death situation. Now we are just waiting for a time to resolve it. Then Yi Bai took stock of his own strength. In terms of cultivation techniques, Little Thunder sound breathing method, Big Thunder sound breathing method. There is a subordinate relationship between the two. If you want to practice the great thunder sound breathing method, you must first practice the little thunder sound breathing method. The powerful bull demon fist, the subtle body technique, and the roaring golden bell. Air control technique. Weapons. Little thunder bow, extraordinary alloy knife. In addition, after killing Luo Diang's 5 awakened ones, he actually got a good thing called the Golden Chan treasure clothes. He didn't know what material it was made of. It was as light as nothing when worn on his body, but it was extremely defensive and invulnerable. When he was fighting with the scalper just now, he deliberately let the scalper kick his hoof, but nothing happened to him. It seemed that the scalper's power was removed by the golden cicada, and he only felt a little impact. With this golden cicada treasure clothes and tiger roaring golden bell cover, it can be said that Yi Bai's self-protection ability is already very high. In summary, his strength has improved a lot now. If he encounters an awakened person of Master Yang's level again, he is confident that it will be much easier to deal with it. Coupled with the exclusive arrows for the little thunder bow that his father is building for him, he believes that he can still reach a higher level. The night passed. The next day, Yi Bai was just woken up by his mother and was ready to have breakfast after washing himself. Yi Demin, who had not slept all night, came over excitedly, told him that the arrows had been made, and asked him to go to the blacksmith shop to have a look. I said, Dad, you don't need to be in such a hurry. You haven't slept for another night, and you will get old very quickly. Seeing that his father stayed up all night to make arrows for his Shaolayan bow, Yi Bai was still a little ashamed. I came back last night and listened to the familiar, ding ding ding, sound of forging iron when I was a child. Instead, I had a good sleep that I hadn't had in a long time. It's nothing. I have been working for decades and I have long been used to it. I feel a little more energetic at night. Yi Demin said nonchalantly. He seemed to be in good spirits. Dad, you should retire soon. Now our family is not short of money. Yi Bai said distressedly. I know, there is actually very little blacksmithing nowadays. Everything is about modernization and online shopping. Old bones like us are of little use anymore. Yi Demin sounded a little lonely when he said it. In fact, now that his spiritual energy has recovered, he is a little happy. I feel like I have a role to play again. While the two were talking, they arrived at Yi's blacksmith shop. Yi Demin looked excited and took out the 6 arrows that had been made. He even specially made a box to hold the arrows. It looked simple and elegant, but it looked very stylish when carried on his back. However, Yi Bai has reserve space, but it is actually of little use. He can carry it when there are people around. What do you think? Yi Demin took out an arrow from the box and handed it to Yi Bai, looking at his son expectantly. This arrow. When Yi Bai saw it, a look of surprise appeared on his face. This control arrow has a purple-black color, a streamlined arrow body, and a unique sheen of cold metal. There is also a lightning bolt engraved in the center, which matches the pattern on the small thunder bow very well, and presents a unique aesthetic, as if it was born for its own small thunder bow. His fingers slowly passed over the arrow, and he could feel that there was a faint tingling sensation on it, like an electric shock, as if there really was thunder and lightning inside. How could this happen? Yi Bai raised his head in shock and looked at his father in disbelief. Didn't I tell you before that I seem to have awakened my talent? This talent seems to be related to blacksmithing. I don't know how to explain it. It's just that the things I built seem to be a little special. It seems that the power can be increased a little. Yi Demin was a little confused. He touched the back of his neck sheepishly and said, try it and see if it works. Okay, it must be great. Yi Bai took out the small thunder bow, put the arrow on the bowstring, and found that it seemed to be the original match. The fit was perfect. By the way, I have an intuition. As long as you drip blood onto the trough at the tail of the arrow, and the arrow is not imprisoned, it can be recovered. But this is just my intuition. I don't actually know how to do it. No. Just when he was about to ejaculate and try, Yi Demin introduced it again. Recognize the master with blood. Dad, you have created a magical weapon. That's awesome, my dad. Yi Bai was pleasantly surprised. He originally just wanted to add an iron arrow to his little Layan bow. He never expected that his father would have such a talent, and the finished product far exceeded his expectations. He looked at the tail of the matching arrow, and sure enough there was a blood groove with a spike on it. He pressed his thumb on it, and his blood flowed into the blood groove. He could feel that the whole arrow seemed to have vitality. The arrow body actually trembled, and the whole body was wrapped in a faint red light, which took a while to dissipate. Then, he felt as if there was telepathy between himself and the matching arrow. Yi Bai's home is right on the edge of the river embankment. Standing in front of the blacksmith shop, you can see a mountain across the river. At this time, Yi Bai raised the small thunder bow, drew it to full length, and aimed directly at the mountain opposite. From the blacksmith shop to the riverside to the opposite riverside and then to the top of the mountain, the distance was about 2 or 3 miles away. But he was confident that there should be no problem shooting this arrow to this distance. Whoosh! After finding the target, Yi Bai loosened the bowstring of Shaolayan bow, and then the arrow in his hand shot across the river like a purple lightning bolt, directly towards the top of the mountain opposite. Bang! After a while, the sound of exploding rocks could be heard faintly. Yi Bai's eyes narrowed slightly. With his eyesight, he could easily see that his arrow had hit a big rock on the top of the mountain. Even after such a long distance, he still shot directly through the big rock. The arrow was missing from the top of the mountain. Then stopped. This power is really terrifying. Dad, you are really too strong. Yi Bai was also shocked by this. It was obvious that the power of this arrow was doubled or even several times higher than that without the arrow, has been enhanced. He estimated that even those with awakened grade A talents who were good at defense might not be able to catch his arrow. Then he raised his hand again. As if summoned by him, the arrow quickly flew back from the mountain on the opposite side, and was easily caught in his hand. He observed this arrow, but it looked like there was a slight scratch on the surface, but there was no damage at all. It's completely reusable. As long as it suits you, is there anything else you need to fight? Seeing that Yi Bai was satisfied, Yi Demin also felt a sense of accomplishment, even quite excited, and could continue to fight. No need for now, but Dad, you are really a treasure talent. You can turn this ordinary iron into a magical weapon. Yi Bai thought for a while, but still warned, but you usually make weapons for other people, but you have to keep it under control. I'm afraid it will cause trouble once it spreads. According to his estimation, his father's talent should be in blacksmithing, such as improving the quality of forging, and even being able to make ordinary iron into a qualitative change. Well, when I helped you shoot this matching arrow, I don't know why it was in particularly good condition, so the output was better. Yi Demin also nodded in understanding. Dad, you have worked hard this night. Go back and have some breakfast and have a good rest. Yi Bai patted the dust on his father's shoulder distressedly and said. Okay, I'll pack up and go back. Yi Demin said with a grin. He felt happy at this time, and he didn't show any signs of fatigue after staying up all night. Return to the inner room. After breakfast, Yi Bai was still thinking about finding some kind of show later, such as fishing on the lower river or something. He didn't expect that Mo Yuan would come to his door. Mo Yuan came to see him last night. He did tell Mo Yuan that he had gone home, and also said that his home was in Luopan town, but he didn't expect that this guy would come here without notifying him. Now when he arrived at Luopan town, he was stopped at the intersection and had to go out to pick him up. Brother Yi, it's great to see you. Looking at Yi Bai, Mo Yuan suddenly became energetic and shouted, Help, Brother Yi. I'm here to join you. Hearing Mo Yuan yelling from a distance, Yi Bai couldn't help but twitch his face slightly. When this guy comes, I'm afraid my quiet life will be gone. Little Yi Bai, is this really your friend? He was still the same strong man as yesterday. When he saw Yi Bai, he greeted Yi Bai cheerfully. Yes, this is indeed my friend, please let him in. It's such a hot day, Uncle Shang, you've worked hard too. Yi Bai said with an apologetic smile. Okay, then let him in. The strong man let Mo Yuan go. Thank you, Uncle Shang. Yi Bai said, I told you that I knew Brother Yi, a lifelong friendship. Why don't you believe it? Mo Yuan proudly carried his backpack and trotted to Yi Bai's side. Why did you come to me? The two of them walked home side by side. Yi Bai glanced at Mo Yuan and said loudly, I am a poor and remote person, and I have nothing to entertain you. Didn't I just say that I'm here to join you, and I'll just hang out with you from now on, Mo Yuan said carelessly. Yi Bai, although this guy said he wanted to hang out with him yesterday, he thought it was just a casual talk. He never expected that the other person was really so persistent and even followed him to his hometown. Brother Yi, are you really going to take me in? I can't survive in Yuncheng. Then Mo Yuan said with a pitiful look, you also know that I refused the Lu family's solicitation, and I'm so close to you again. Not long after I got home yesterday, I felt someone was following me, and I tried my best to leave him alone today. It's the Lu family again. Yi Bai frowned. In this way, Mo Yuan may have gotten into trouble because of himself, and he couldn't even think about taking him in. Yeah, that kid Lu Jinghui is really nothing. We are all classmates, we didn't expect him to do such a great job. Mo Yuan cursed. I didn't make it clear on the phone yesterday, did he send someone to kill you? Already. Someone came to kill me, but it seems it wasn't his idea, it was his father Lu Wanzhong. Yi Bai said lightly. Oh no, no one in this Lu family is good. When I become more powerful, I will destroy the entire Lu family. Mo Yuan said boldly. Patch specifically refers to the place Cloud City in the book. I'm afraid there's no hope depending on you. Yi Bai directly poured a basin of cold water on him. Haha, whether that's okay or not is another matter, but you have to get up your momentum first. Mo Yuan said with a smile. Besides, isn't it you, Brother Yi? You must have killed all the killers sent by the Lu family. Brother Yi invincible. Okay, that's almost it. We are all our own people, so stop bragging. Yi Bai said angrily, but he was really thinking in his heart that if he had the opportunity, he could teach Xiao Leiyan's breathing method to Mo Yuan first, and then in the future at least they won't be held back when dealing with the Lu family. Hee, but Brother Yi, you don't have to think I'm useless. Let me tell you, I'm a little better today than yesterday. Mo Yuan didn't care, patted his heart and blew again. How is it so strong? Does your thing know how to turn? Yi Bai glanced at this guy who was talking about running around. Ahem, it's stronger than that. Now I can control any part of my body to become hard. For example, if someone attacks my head, I will make my scalp hard. If someone attacks my heart, I will just harden your heart. Mo Yuan said confidently. In other words, I can now combine offense and defense. If I face that little Lu Jinghui, I will definitely win against him. That's indeed okay, but there is a problem. If the opponent attacks too fast, you may not be able to react. Yi Bai still gave his affirmation, which is equivalent to greatly raising the upper limit of Mo Yuan's talent. Ah, this is indeed a problem. Mo Yuan's face twitched. I can help you solve this problem. Yi Bai said again. After practicing the breathing method, his physical fitness and reaction ability will be greatly improved. Really, Brother Yi is so awesome. It is indeed right for me to follow Brother Yi. Mo Yuan was immediately overjoyed. Don't be too happy yet. I'm only responsible for teaching. Whether you can learn or not depends on your IQ. Yi Bai said. Don't worry, my IQ is top-notch. In addition to Chinese, mathematics, English, physics and chemistry, as well as biology, history and geography. I can basically learn everything once. Mo Yuan immediately assured. Are you trying to harden your mouth? Yi Bai rolled his eyes at him. While the two were talking, they returned home. As soon as Yi Bai and Mo Yuan entered the door, a yellow shadow immediately rushed over, and a cow's hoof was about to step directly on Mo Yuan's heart. Mutated creature. Mo Yuan was startled and quickly transferred his talent to his heart. But looking at the power of this hoof, he may not be able to withstand it. This is my friend, not a bad person. Fortunately, Yi Bai helped him block it at this moment. The scalper then stepped back, but still stared at Mo Yuan warily. Brother Yi, what's going on? Why are there mutated creatures in your house? Mo Yuan was so panicked that he hid behind Yi Bai and asked. Don't be afraid, my mother raised her and she won't hurt anyone casually. Yi Bai said. Moo. As soon as he said this, Scalper refused to give him face and snorted at Mo Yuan, as if he was deliberately trying to scare people. As a result, Mo Yuan became even more afraid. He had personally experienced the horror of mutated creatures, and now that he was raising them at home, he felt it was too scary. Go away. Yi Bai went directly over and slapped Niu too. Huang Niu was a little dissatisfied at first, but when he saw Yi Bai pretending to fight, he had no choice but to step aside and lie on the ground. No one could let him hit Yi Bai. Come in. Yi Bai then took Mo Yuan into the inner room with satisfaction. This child sometimes had to be beaten to be obedient. Brother Yi, you are so awesome, you can even raise mutant creatures. Mo Yuan swallowed, still feeling shocked. It's not that I'm awesome, it's my mom who is great. My mom raised it and it obeys my mom's words the most. Yi Bai said. When he entered the house and saw his mom still cleaning, he introduced him and said, Mom, this is my classmate, his name is Mo Yuan, come here to play with us. Hello, Aunt, just call me Xiao Mo. I came in a hurry this time and didn't bring anything with me. I hope Aunt doesn't mind. Mo Yuan quickly greeted him respectfully and took out a bag from the backpack behind him. Fruit. This person is a capable person who can raise mutant creatures. He is a really powerful person. He does not dare to neglect him at all. Hello Xiao Mo, you don't have to be so polite. Just sit down and treat yourself as if you were at home. Xiao Bai, Mom is not free yet. Please quickly pour tea for your classmate. Liang Qianru said while mopping the floor and waving her hand. No, I can do it myself. Mo Yuan said. Okay, sit down. There were all the customers passing by, so Yi Bai still had to be polite. He made Mo Yuan a pot of tea and poured him a cup. Brother Yi, your house is really nice. It's spacious and airy. You can't buy this house without millions in Yuncheng. Mo Yuan took a sip of tea and looked around with interest. You also know that it is Yuncheng. We are in the countryside. What we build by ourselves is not worth much. Yi Bai said, it is basically like this in the countryside. Even if you have money but don't have money, you still have to build a building. 3 start on the first floor. Sometimes we help each other. I will lend you money when you build a house, and I will ask you for the money back after I build a house. If your family doesn't build a house, you may have to wait until your son marries a wife to get back the money you borrowed. The environment in your Luopan town is also good. It's surrounded by mountains and rivers. It's a good place to retire. Mo Yuan added. Then you came here to prepare for retirement. Yi Bai said playfully. Ahem, that's a little early. Mo Yuan coughed twice, changed the subject and said, by the way, have you read today's news? Not yet. You just got up and you're here before you've even finished breakfast. You don't have time to read. Is there any big news? Yi Bai couldn't help but ask curiously. The Wushu Association has issued another announcement. You should read it yourself. Mo Yuan took a sip of water comfortably, then stretched and said. He didn't know why, but he felt very comfortable and safe when he got here. Has the Wushu Association issued another announcement? Hearing this, Yi Bai quickly took out his phone to check. These days, the Wushu Association is indeed playing an important role. Every time an announcement is made, it will cause great waves across the country. It can even be said that this is the organization that truly leads the update of relevant information across the country after the great changes. For example, the existence of awakened beings was directly announced at the beginning, and later the talent rating, the emergence of awakened creatures, etc. were announced. Yi Bai directly opened a news item, browsed it quickly, and found that this announcement was mainly about 2 aspects. One is about the awakened ones. According to incomplete national statistics, more than half of the people nationwide have awakened. Among them, there are about 5,000 people who have obtained Grade A talent certification nationwide through the Wushu Association, accounting for less than 100,000 of all awakened people. Among them, there are only more than 100 people who have reached the 3rd level. Although there may be many people who have not gone to the Wushu Association for certification, it also shows to a certain extent how difficult it is to have a Grade A talent. There are many more people who have obtained the 2nd level talent certification, reaching the million level, but in fact, only 1 person in thousands of people reaches this level. The rest of Class C and Class D, the Wushu Association considers the number to be huge and has not introduced them. Moreover, the gap between Class D and Class C is not very big. Class D is also relatively easy to evolve to Class C. The Martial Arts Association also revealed to the public for the first time that talents can be evolved using awakening crystal cores, but it also stated that mutated creatures are extremely powerful and it is not recommended for ordinary awakened people to hunt them privately. Therefore, the Wushu Association has launched a large amount of information about mutant organisms on its website, and published a map of mutant organisms for each province and city, encouraging people to upload information about mutant organisms in their own locations for sharing. The information sharing section is also divided into free area and paid area, and it also includes one-click team formation and automatic search for local teammates. But before that, you need to have your talent and strength certified by the Wushu Association, and then match your teammates with different strengths and systems based on your personal talent. After reading these introductions, Yi Bai could only say one thing: awesome. Of course, he also knew that for the time being this was just an introduction to the talents of the awakened. But in fact, many talents can be continuously developed. A low rating at the beginning does not mean a low rating later. As for the rating of strength, it should still be under development. After all, it's just not long since the great changes in the world began, and it's impossible for everything to be perfected so quickly. The second important announcement issued by the Wushu Association is about mutated creatures. Here, the Martial Arts Association has also classified the mutated creatures, and the specific classification method is almost the same as the awakened ones. It is also divided into 4 levels: A, B, C and D, with level D being the lowest. D-level mutant creatures have no intelligence and can only kill. Class C mutant creatures have a certain amount of intelligence, but they are probably just as intelligent as ordinary animals, and they still have killing instincts. Class B mutant creatures have high intelligence and a certain combat IQ. They can already identify human traps and can even drive Class D and C mutant creatures. Class A mutant creatures possess extremely high intelligence, and the IQ gap between them is not much different from that of humans. They can even understand human language and imitate human movements. Here is an example of the talking apes in Mount Amei. Finally, the Martial Arts Association has specifically stated that even D-level mutant creatures are already very strong. At this stage, it is difficult for ordinary A-level talents to deal with mutant creatures of any level. Awakeners are reminded that if they encounter mutant creatures alone, don't fight head-on. Yi Bai guessed that the mutant lizards and mutant lobsters he had encountered before were all D-level mutant creatures. As for the scalper outside, it must be a Class A mutated creature. At the end of the announcement, the Wushu Association also mentioned that the country is developing ancient martial arts, which will soon be provided to citizens for practice, which can improve personal physical fitness and help deal with mutant creatures. Lin Qingwan mentioned this to him yesterday. From this point of view, the Lin family's energy is indeed quite great, and they can actually know so much information in advance. Yi Bai looked at the comments again and found that many people were comparing their talents. Some people pretended to be grade A talents but were exposed, some complained that they were underestimated by the Wushu Association, and some posted Lolita messages asking to form a team. It seems to be similar to the game area. Have you gone to the Wushu Association for certification? What is your talent level? Yi Bai put down his phone, looked up at Mo Yuan and asked. Well, it's temporarily certified as level B, but they must have misjudged it. I think my talent has the potential of level A. Mo Yuan said, a little unconvinced. It's just a Martial Arts Association certification, which is indeed not very accurate. I don't know who has ever heard such a saying: there is no such thing as a useless talent, only a useless awakener. Yi Bai said. That's right. For example, if my talent is used in different places, the rating will definitely be different. Mo Yuan nodded excitedly as if he had met a close friend. Well, if used in that place, it would be a proper D level. Yi Bai said. Mo Yuan. Next, Mo Yuan stayed at Yi Bai's house. This guy's mouth was very good at Yi Bai's, and he was very good at talking. In one day, he satisfied Yi Bai's parents and even the scalpers at the door. A few days passed. Mo Yuan treated this place as his own home, and it could be said that he was not polite at all. In the past few days, Yi Bai also taught Shaolayin's breathing technique to Mo Yuan and his parents. As a result, he also found that these techniques were easy for him to practice, but difficult for others to practice. It seems much more difficult. Just like Shaolayin's breathing method, he taught it repeatedly, but only Mo Yuan mastered it. His parents may be too old to learn it. He can only see if he can reveal more suitable training techniques to the two elders in the future. With his explosive rate, he should be able to use them. And if it is said that the person who learns things the fastest is the scalper. What Yi Bai taught scalpers, except for the tiger's roaring golden bell, seemed to be learned in a decent way. Therefore, Yi Bai had no choice but to place his hope on scalpers. After Mo Yuan learned Xiao Lian's breathing method, his physical fitness improved a lot, and his improved reflexes made him seem to be more comfortable controlling his talent. From then on, he loved to spar with the scalpers in the yard. Of course, Mo Yuan has always been the one being abused, but he never gets tired of it. Yi Bai continued to practice the Great Thunder sound breathing technique, and he also made rapid progress. With his own strength, he still seemed to be able to face the cooperation of Huang Niu and Mo Yuan with ease. After a few days of relaxed and happy days. In the past 2 days, even the remote town of Luopan Town has felt a tense atmosphere spreading. As the news on the mobile phone and TV continued to be broadcast, it was obvious that the number of mutant creatures had increased significantly across the country. There were even rumors that some cities were besieged by hordes of mutant creatures. Following this, there are also a large number of records of crimes committed by awakened people, and the security of some cities has directly collapsed. Everyone can know that this is a major change that has once again intensified and accelerated. The human ecological environment is about to enter an extremely dangerous stage. Moo. Early in the morning, when the sky was just dawning and the sun had just risen halfway, the ox lying on the ground suddenly let out a low roar. What happened? The voice was loud, like rolling thunder, and Yi Bai, who was still sleeping in the inner room, was suddenly awakened. Yi Bai could tell that the cattle's cry this time contained danger and warning. He quickly got up and walked outside. At this time, his mother Liang Qianru also got up, cursing and going to settle the score with the scalper. "Mom, you and Dad don't go out, it might be dangerous." Yi Bai grabbed her and warned her. Liang Qianru was startled and realized that she had wrongly blamed scalpers. Mo Yuan was the last one to get up, but when he heard Yi Bai say there was danger, he was so excited that he immediately lost all sleepiness and rushed out. "Son, be careful," Liang Qianru warned with some worry. After these few days, although the two elders already knew that Yi Bai was very strong, parents would never let go of their children. "Well, I'll pay attention. Mom, you and Dad hide first and don't go out." Yi Bai nodded in agreement. Mo Yuan on the side looked at Liang Qianru with a look of anticipation. "Xiao Yuan, be careful." Liang Qianru was stunned for a moment, then realized what she was doing and explained. "Okay, Auntie, I understand." After hearing this, Mo Yuan suddenly smiled. This made Yi Bai speechless. The two went downstairs and saw Yellow Ox walking to the yard, seemingly looking in the direction outside the town. "Xiao Huang, what did you find?" Mo Yuan put his arms around Huang Niu's neck and asked in a familiar voice. "Moo." Huang Niu struggled twice and just screamed. Naturally, the two of them couldn't understand this cow talk. "Are there other mutated creatures?" Yi Bai asked in a different way. Generally speaking, mutated creatures at the level of scalpers should have a certain sense of territory and would issue warnings. They probably discovered something. "Moo." Huang Niu nodded sharply. "There are mutated creatures coming to our small town. It seems that the current situation is not optimistic. Xiao Huang, you stay here to look after the house. I will go and take a look." Yi Bai looked slightly solemn. After speaking, he walked towards the town. Run quickly to the entrance. Once a highly destructive mutant creature enters the town, the consequences will be disastrous. "Wait for me." Mo Yuan followed closely. Moo. Huang Niu originally wanted to follow him, but after thinking about it, he stayed at home obediently and hadn't even eaten breakfast today. Yi Bai and Mo Yuan were not slow now. In less than half a minute, they arrived at the archway of Luopan Town. This is the entrance to the town, and it is usually guarded. "Uncle Shang." Yi Bai tried calling. "Who?" The strong man stationed in the pavilion was alert and woke up immediately. "Uncle Shang, it's me. Have you seen anything unusual?" Yi Bai asked. "Oh, it's Xiao Zizi, it's nothing." The strong man immediately relaxed when he saw it was Yi Bai. Rumble. Right now. Suddenly, there was a slight vibration on the ground, as if thousands of troops and horses were running towards the direction of Luopan Town. "What is this?" Several people were immediately startled. "No, they are mutated creatures. There are so many. How come there are so many?" The strong man quickly climbed up the watchtower and looked into the distance. He was shocked and stunned. Uncle Shang, please notify the whole town to be alert. We also need to contact Yuncheng to see if we can call for support. Hearing this, Yi Bai also took a closer look and saw that in a certain direction, at least a large group of mutated creatures were rushing towards Luopan town. It looks so dark, there are hundreds of them at least. There are so many. Mo Yuan was also shocked. You must know that when they faced mutant lobsters before, just one was very difficult to deal with. Now, hundreds of them. Even though their strength has improved a lot compared to before, how can they hold up? Dang, dang, dang. The bell, which represented danger, sounded from the watchtower and soon resounded throughout Luopan town. What happened? Is this an early warning bell? There's something wrong with the town. Quick, all awakened ones with fighting talents, gather at the entrance of the town. In this town that had been peaceful for a long time, people woke up from their sleep. Immediately, based on the previous drill, the entire town was mobilized. The young, old, women and children hid in a safe place, while the young, strong and awakened ones with fighting talents began to rush towards the archway of Luopan town quickly. Little Yi Zi, you and your friends are still young. You should go and take shelter. Just leave this place to us adults. Uncle Shang, a strong man, was afraid of seeing so many mutant creatures, but he still persuaded him. Yi Bai. Uncle Shang, we both have fighting talents and can help. Yi Bai naturally couldn't leave and just looked at Mo Yuan. With so many mutant creatures, even they may be in danger. If Mo Yuan leaves at this time, he will not blame him. What are you looking at me for? Are you kidding? You don't think I will escape in the middle of the battle, do you? Mo Yuan, as if he had been greatly wronged, said loudly, do you know that you have already hurt me? A red heart. Then be careful later, I might not be able to take care of you. Yi Bai said. You actually underestimated me. You'll know later how strong your brother Yuan is. Mo Yuan said unconvinced. These mutated creatures seem to be mostly mutated wolves and mutated wild boars. Although our Luopan town is surrounded by mountains and rivers, the nearby mountains are all mature mountains, and there are no wild beasts for a long time. This suddenly came so. There are so many mutated creatures, I'm afraid there's something fishy. Yi Bai didn't answer his words and just continued to cast his gaze into the distance. So many mutated creatures can already be called a beast tide. A small town like Luopan town should not attract a tide of beasts, unless someone drives it. Probably not. How dare he from the Lu family? Yi Bai suddenly thought of a possibility, but soon he shook his head and denied it. He thought that even the Lu family would not have the courage to create a wave of beasts artificially. It was just to deal with him and to threaten the destruction of a whole town. Once word spread, the Lu family would definitely be criticized by thousands of people and cast aside by all the awakened people. But he couldn't figure out why so many mutated creatures appeared. As the mutated creatures' galloping sound became louder and louder, more and more people gathered at the archway of Luopan town. What? A tide of beasts? Why is there a tide of beasts here? Hundreds of mutated creatures. Isn't this true? I heard that even D-level mutant creatures require A-level talents to deal with them. With so many mutant creatures now, aren't we doomed? As soon as the news of the coming beast tide spread, it immediately caused panic among the crowd. These days, everyone is paying close attention to the news and already knows how powerful these mutated creatures are. It can be said that even if there are only 10 heads, their town will be difficult to deal with. Now there are dozens and hundreds of people, and everyone feels desperate. Seeing this, Yi Bai couldn't help but frown. In this situation, he knew that he had to stabilize everyone's morale. Otherwise, no matter how powerful he is, it will be difficult for him and Mo Yuan to resist these hundreds of mutant creatures. He could also rush over and kill them first, but he would definitely not be able to kill them all. Once the people's hearts are dispersed, more people will die when the remaining beast tide arrives. After all, in front of mutated creatures, if there is no effective resistance, all humans will be prey. Therefore, at this time, he did not care about hiding his strength. Everyone, please be quiet. He stepped on his feet and directly used the air control technique to fly into the air, condescendingly shouting to everyone. Flying talent. Who is this young man? He has awakened his talent for flying. This seems to be Yi Tijong's son. He has awakened his talent for flying. He is going to be very promising. Everyone, stop talking now. The waves behind the Yangtze River push the waves ahead. Let's all listen to what little Yi has to say. Hearing Yi Bai's voice and seeing the figure flying in the air, the whole place gradually became quiet. With the popularization of information now, everyone already knows that an awakened person who can fly often represents a great talent. An awakened person with a great talent can still give some confidence to these scattered wanderers, as if they suddenly have the backbone of leadership. Even Mo Yuan looked at Yi Bai with some envy at this time. In fact, it's not like Yi Bai has never taught him the art of air control, but unfortunately he couldn't learn it no matter how hard he learned it. At most, he could only jump a little higher, and he was still far away from flying in the air. Sure enough, now he has a flying skill, which is to pull the wind, and he immediately calmed the whole audience. Uncles, brothers and sisters, our Luopan town is indeed in a very dangerous situation now. Seeing that the crowd had quieted down, Yi Bai also spoke up at this time. But you don't need to panic too much. Yi Bai, as you all have seen, I can fly, I have great talent. And I can resist most of the mutated creatures. You just need to help resist the rest. Got it? No, little Yi, are you kidding me? You said you can resist most mutant creatures by yourself. We have heard that even D-level mutant creatures cannot be dealt with by ordinary A-level awakened ones. Come on, someone immediately raised doubts. In my opinion, it is better to retreat now. There may still be a little chance of survival. But, alas, how can ordinary people outrun the mutated creatures? Many people in the audience shook their heads. They were still touched by Yi Bai's step forward. But almost no one would believe this. Everyone, be quiet. I, Brother Yi, will never brag. I am not afraid to tell you that I, Brother Yi, have killed mutant creatures by myself. He has the awakening crystal core of mutant creatures in his hand. Brother Yi shows it to everyone. Wait, at this time, Mo Yuan also came out and shouted loudly. Well, everyone, please take a look. Yi Bai actually has no experience as an organizer. What he has to do now is to increase everyone's self-confidence, so that everyone will not be scared away when the beast tide arrives. It turns into food when you run. After saying that, he took out the mutated crystal core that Lin Qingyuan gave him. Under the streetlight, the awakening crystal core flashed with a unique colored light, which immediately attracted everyone's attention. It's really an awakening crystal core. I saw the introduction on Douyin. This thing needs to kill mutant creatures before it can be taken out. It seems that Xiao Yeji has really killed mutant creatures. It's true, I've seen it too. Yes, the children of Lao Yi's family are indeed capable. Everyone, please listen to him. But this is just a mutated creature. We are about to face dozens or hundreds of them. No matter how powerful the blacksmith's son is, he won't be able to deal with most of them. There are more than 100 of us here, and it's scary if we add up to them. You can't deal with 10 heads. I think we might as well run away now before the beast tide arrives. Where can we run? If we run away, what will happen to the old, weak, women and children? As soon as this source of evolution was brought out, it immediately gained a lot of credibility, but there were still many people who were afraid and had various thoughts secretly. Seeing this, Yi Bai knew that he needed to do something more to be more convincing. We can't waste any more time, everyone, watch out. The next moment, he took out the small thunder bow. With the bowstring fully drawn and the lightning arrows made by Yi Demon, his eyes narrowed slightly and he aimed at a mutated wild boar that was running wildly on the mountain road about 3 miles away. It happened that it had just entered the shooting range. Whoosh! There was a sharp sound of breaking through the air, and an arrow like lightning shot out in a gorgeous trajectory under the gaze of everyone. Ouch! A moment later, a shrill scream came from the distance, and the mutated wild boar fell down directly in response to the sound. In Yi Bai's field of vision, this mutated wild boar was directly shot through the head by him and was no longer alive. The power of the Shaolayan bow with the addition of arrows has indeed increased by an unknown amount. Ding! At the same time, there was a kill sound, but Yi Bai had no time to check it. Just now, I have killed a mutated wild boar. He just raised his hand, and the arrow returned to his hand again with the blood of the wild boar. He held it high and showed it to everyone, saying confidently. Okay, I heard the scream of the wild boar just now. It was really killed. One arrow can kill a mutated creature. This guy from the Yi family is so powerful. Everyone, get excited. With Xiao Yeji's leadership, we will definitely win this battle. Yes, fight these beasts. This move immediately surprised and delighted everyone. No one thought that Yi Bai would be so strong. The fear of these mutated creatures has also dropped a lot unconsciously. There are still about 3 miles to go. I should be able to kill at most 20 or 30 beasts. Yi Bai looked at the speed of the incoming beasts and made a secret estimate. After all, aiming takes time, and some shots miss the vital point. It cannot be killed. Time was running out, and soon he drew his bow and arrow again, aiming into the distance. He had to kill as many as possible before these mutant creatures arrived, so as to reduce the damage to the town. Whizzing, whizzing, he was just like that, suspended in midair, like Hui, the god of arrows, shooting arrows quickly. Every arrow hit a mutated creature without any surprise. Even if it missed some of its vital points, it at least made it difficult for it to continue charging. Ding, ding, ding. At the same time, there were bursts of killing prompts, but Yi Bai had no time to check them. He just tried his best to kill as many mutant creatures as possible before the beast tide arrived. Everyone, cheer up. Little Yi Zi is so brave at such a young age. We, the people, must not be embarrassed. After being calmed down by Yi Bai, everyone in Luopan town also began to follow the instructions, make preparations for usual rehearsals. In fact, since the great changes, they have begun to organize related Luopan town security teams to deal with various emergencies. But no one expected that the first time their security team was officially dispatched, they would actually have to deal with dozens or hundreds of mutated creatures. As the earthquake in the ground got closer and closer, the atmosphere in the crowd became more and more tense. Although in just a few minutes, Yi Bai had killed nearly 30 mutated creatures, which was extremely terrifying and beyond imagination, everyone could still hear from the movement that this time there are nearly 100 mutated creatures in the beast tide. Here we come. When these large wild boars and wild wolves that had mutated and appeared in public view, the ordinary people couldn't help but feel their scalps numb and even their legs tremble. Most of them have seen related pictures and videos on Douyin and various news, and they already know it in their minds. But when they see these terrifying creatures in front of them, they still can't help but feel a sense of instinct. Trembling from the bottom of my heart. Not to mention these ordinary awakened people, even Yi Bai and Mo Yuan clearly felt a huge pressure. Dozens or hundreds. All the bodies are like hills, once they all rush over. That kind of impact is so terrifying. Be careful. Yi Bai put away the small thunder bow and fell to the ground again from midair. He first whispered to Mo Yuan. Then he gritted his teeth and took the lead in rushing towards the beast tide. As he rushed, he growled. Defend your home. Kill them all. Kill them all. Kill them all. Yes, we can't let these beasts enter the town. We can't let them in even if we die. Come on, kill all these beasts. Everyone maintains formation according to training. Seeing Yi Bai's fearless charge, everyone was ignited one by one and rushed out with shouts. Yes, their home is behind them. Once they retreat, their home will be gone. Their parents, children, their families, and their friends will all be ruthlessly slaughtered by these beasts. Moreover, these mutated creatures run so fast, even if they escape, where can they escape to? The only solution for now is to fight to the end. Kill. Yi Bai was extremely fast, and he rushed into the beast tide from a distance of several hundred meters in just the blink of an eye. In the beast tide, the mutated wild boars and mutated wild wolves all had red eyes at this time. As soon as he saw that humans dared to rush in, the nearest mutated wild wolf rushed towards Yi Bai very quickly. After the mutation, this mutated wild wolf has a body like a hill, but it retains the original flexibility and ferocity, and its claws are as sharp as blades. Vaguely, Yi Bai could hear the air becoming sharp. He took a deep breath, used his subtle body technique with his feet, and then punched the head of the mutant wolf that was flying towards him. Powerful bull demon fist. No reservations, just a hard straight punch. Bang! All the strength in his body surged out, and Yi Bai's fist violently collided with the mutated wolf's head. There was a loud bang, and he saw that the mutated wolf's head was directly blown open by a punch. A lot of blood splattered on Yi Bai's face, staining his clothes red. Kill a mutated wild wolf and get. Then there was a killing prompt, but but Yi Bai was completely immersed in the battle at this time and didn't pay attention at all. This boy from the old Yi family is so awesome. Seeing this scene, everyone's eyes suddenly went straight. This small mountain of mutated creatures can actually be destroyed by such a punch. Although they knew just now that Yi Bai could kill a mutated creature with one arrow, after all, they just heard the sound and didn't see it with their own eyes. Now they can really see it, and they can see it from such a close range. This is ridiculously powerful. This is undoubtedly a shot in the arm for everyone. Brother Yi, this is too fierce. Even Mo Yuan, who already knew Yi Bai's strength, couldn't help but swallowed his saliva at this time, feeling a little shocked. He knew Yi Bai was strong, but he didn't expect him to be this strong. You know, he had already killed 20 or 30 heads with his bow and arrow just now. If it had been him, he would have been too tired to move. After Yi Bai fought with such intensity, he could actually blast a mutated creature with one punch. He could only use 2 words to describe it: monster. Naturally, Yi Bai didn't have time to think so much. He only had one thought now, which was to kill as many mutated creatures as possible as quickly as possible, so as to reduce the pressure on others. Having just finished killing a mutated wild wolf, he dodged and immediately used the subtle body technique to kill the second one. Powerful bull demon fist. Extraordinary alloy knife. With a single breath, he shuttled back and forth among the dozens of terrifying mutated creatures, and he could basically kill one of them with one punch. However, because he has no knife skills, he cannot kill a thick-skinned guy with a single blow. Before anyone else actually encountered these mutated creatures, he killed 5 or 6 more in less than 10 seconds. Seeing this energy, others even had the illusion that this mutated creature wasn't that scary. It wasn't until everyone actually faced these terrifying mutated creatures, and their hearts were trembling when they were rushed towards them by the mountain-like pressure, that they realized that it wasn't that these mutated creatures weren't scary, but that Mrs. Yi Bai was terrible. For ordinary awakened people, even a group of 10 people cannot kill a mutated creature at all. Even in just one encounter, more than 5 people have been directly killed by the mutated creature. This kind of great terror made everyone feel like a bucket of cold water had been poured on them, and they felt afraid. Especially when they saw the blood of their companions splashing in front of their eyes, the crowd who had finally plucked up the courage immediately began to panic. But the more they panic, the easier it is for the dead souls to be reincarnated under the claws of these mutated creatures. Everyone, hold on. Seeing this, the strong man whom Yi Bai called Uncle Shang shouted loudly, trying to boost morale. But just as he shouted these words, a mutated wild wolf heard the sound and immediately rushed towards him. A fishy wind rushed towards his face. He gritted his teeth and tried his best to activate his talent. His talent is to turn his hands into bear paws. After turning into bear paws, his hands are like a pair of big cattail fans, possessing great power. Seeing that he was about to be knocked down, he quickly slapped the wolf's head with his palm. But the mutant wolf was faster. Before his bare paw touched the opponent, the mutant wolf's claws were about to fall on his head. If this claw fell, his skull would be shattered and he would die on the spot. It's over. Don't blame Dad, sister. Dad tried his best. This made Uncle Shang feel a sense of despair running through his body, and he couldn't even do his best. Bang! At this moment, a figure suddenly passed by at an extremely fast speed, much faster than a mutant wild wolf. One punch. With just one punch, the mutated wild wolf was blown away and landed hard on the ground. Little Yi Zi, seeing that he was fine, Uncle Shang was overjoyed. He quickly jumped forward, sat on the head of the mutated wild wolf, and slapped the big guy to death with a pair of bear paws like crazy. Uncle Shang, be careful. Yi Bai didn't have time to say more. He drew his extraordinary alloy knife and immediately attacked the nearest mutant wild boar. Look at me. Not far away, Mo Yuan was also showing off his majesty. He channeled his talent into his right fist. The entire fist was as hard as iron. In addition, he had recently practiced the Shaolayan breathing technique. His speed and reaction ability were also extremely fast, and he was able to face a mutant wild animal rushing towards him. Wolf as a punch. Bang! However, his punching power was far inferior to that of Yi Bai. With one punch, he only forced the mutant wolf back a few steps, and then quickly pounced on it even more ferociously. If one punch doesn't work, then I'll hit him a few more times. Mo Yuan was not convinced and faced him again, punching him one after another without using any strength. Finally, after 5 or 6 punches, the mutated wild wolf was knocked to the ground by him, but he felt as tired as if he had run 5,000 meters. Brother Yi, you are really not a human being. Looking at Yi Bai, who was still charging, he could only sigh secretly. But he could only hold on. Ah, kill. Just after taking a breath, he immediately rushed towards the second mutated creature. As this battle gradually intensified, the land in front of the archway in Luopan town has been dyed red with blood, and the once vivid lives have turned into cold corpses on the ground. Even the air carries an extremely cruel smell. About 6 or 7 miles away from Luopan town, there is the entrance to an old mountain. Although the mountains in this area are already mature mountains, this old mountain is a bit special because there is a large area of undeveloped wild mountains behind it. In the past, this mountain forest was a forestry nature reserve. Luopan town's no hunters are allowed to enter. Therefore, this place is basically inaccessible. Because of the relevant protective net fence, there are few wild animals. At this time, several figures suddenly appeared here. If Yi Bai and Mo Yuan were here, they would recognize that one of them was his former classmate Lu Jinghui. There is another person whom Yi Bai is no stranger to, because now this person is a well-known awakened person in the country. He can often be seen on all major platforms. He is even called the strongest awakened person in the country. His name is Seraph. It is certainly not a coincidence that Lu Jinghui and Seraph appear here. The tide of beasts that attacked Luopan town was created by them and their people. They first used special sonar machines to attract mutant creatures in the forestry nature reserve, and then drove them out of the mountains. Once they leave the mountains, the combat effectiveness of these mutated creatures will be greatly reduced, and they will all become their trophies. These dozens or hundreds of awakening crystal cores can provide a huge improvement even for grade A talents. Mr. Zhao, those mutated creatures should have gone in this direction. After an awakened person sniffed with his nose, he came back and reported to Seraph. Seraph's original name is Zhao Mingyang, and he is the legitimate son from the Zhao family in Guangcheng, one of the 4 major cities. Originally, the Zhao family had great power in Guangcheng, but Zhao Mingyang awakened the 3rd-level talent, which pushed the Zhao family's status to an extremely high level. It can be said that the Lu family, which dominates Yuncheng, is not even qualified to be compared with the Zhao family. Lu Jinghui, the heir of the Lu family, needs to be called respectfully in front of Zhao Mingyang. Mr. Zhao. Master Zhao, there seems to be a town in that direction. I wonder if these mutated creatures will attack humans. How about we speed up and catch up? Hearing this, Lu Jinghui couldn't help but his expression changed slightly, and he looked a little worried. Seraph, Zhao Mingyang said loudly. Although he is usually a bit arrogant, after all, he has not experienced much, and he really can't do it deliberately letting mutant creatures attack human settlements. If there's a town, there's a town. It's not easy for me to kill these nearly 100 mutated creatures. I just want them to consume them. Zhao Mingyang, known as Seraph, sneered and said with some fun. Even when these people were being hunted by mutated creatures, when they saw us falling from the sky, they would regard us as their saviors and be extremely grateful to us. But a lot of people may die. Lu Jinghui was hesitant. He had just graduated and still had some humanity left. Haha. Are you afraid of dead people? Lu Jinghui, is this how your Lu family taught you? Zhao Mingyang suddenly laughed and glanced at Lu Jinghui sarcastically. Young Master Zhao has taught you the lesson, then just follow young Master Zhao's orders. Lu Jinghui suddenly felt a creepy feeling when he looked over at him, and he quickly lowered his head and said. He knew very well how powerful this Seraph was. If he said something wrong, the other party would be afraid that he could crush him to death with one finger. And even his own father and the entire Lu family cannot afford to offend this young ancestor of the Zhao family. Mr. Zhao, we found out. The town in front is called Luopan town, with a population of about 10,000. According to statistics, there should be thousands of awakened people. However, there are not many awakened people with fighting talents. It is estimated that there are only more than 100 people. Soon, a subordinate came to report. Luopan town, Yi Bai's hometown. Lu Jinghui's eyes suddenly lit up when he heard the name, and he wanted to laugh. Originally, He had some sympathy for the beasts attacking the human gathering place, but when he heard that this was Yi Bai's hometown, what little kindness he had left completely disappeared. He hated Yi Bai to the core and wished he could kill Yi Bai this time. He also has no sympathy for Yi Bai's hometown. Of course, thinking so, he remained silent on the surface. The main planner of this incident was still the young man in front of him, Mr. Zhao, and he was just following the flow. He can still win a peace of mind. More than 100 people. Can't hold on for long, so we'll be there in 5 minutes. It's not good to be late. These mutated creatures have entered the town, and it will be troublesome for us to kill them. Zhao Mingyang naturally did not notice what Lu Jinghui was thinking. Xiao Juju, he just picked his fingernails and said as if it didn't matter. Mr. Zhao, we found the corpses of mutated creatures not far ahead. And there is one every other way. It seems that many of these mutated creatures were killed. But at this moment, another subordinate suddenly went to investigate. Come back to report something urgent. What's going on? Did someone cut off the beard? Hearing this, Zhao Mingyang raised his eyebrows and suddenly jumped high on the slowly advancing jeep. Hoo-hoo. He opened his hands and made a gesture of embracing the sky, and then a pair of fiery red flame wings immediately grew out behind him. With a slight flap, the heat wave rolled, sending others up into the air, like a blazing fire coming down from the sky. Angelic. And when it flies to a certain height, it can look down from a high position and see from a distance the corpse of a mutated creature on the road leading to Luopan town. Or a mutated wild wolf, or a mutated wild boar. He flapped his wings and landed next to the corpse of a mutated creature. After examining it, he found that there was a deep blood hole in the head of the mutated wild boar, which seemed to have been pierced by something sharp, but there was no residue left. It's like being shot with a bow and arrow, but the arrow was taken away. Could it be that after killing the mutated creature, this person could still take away the arrow in the beast tide? No. Even the awakening crystal core has not been taken away. After taking a look, Zhao Mingyang's brows sank. He once again looked at the corpses of several mutated creatures, all of which had only one fatal wound on their body that seemed to be caused by a bow and arrow. They are all fatal in one blow. Young Master Zhao, what happened? Others drove the jeep and finally caught up. Seeing Zhao Mingyang's expression was wrong, they couldn't help but ask loudly. Look at the corpses of these mutated creatures. They were all killed by one arrow. However, the awakened crystal cores inside are still there. I guess there should be a master who has awakened the art of archery in Luopan town. Zhao Mingyang said lightly. With that, he jumped back into the jeep. Although he can fly over directly, since there is a master in Luopan town now, he must retain as much strength as possible, otherwise if there is a fight for the awakening crystal core, he will not be able to use his full strength. The master in Luopan town can't be Yi Bai, right? No, although that Yi Bai is not weak, I have never heard that he can do archery, and he can kill a mutated creature with one arrow, so he shouldn't be able to do that either. This strength. Lu Jinghui was frightened for a moment, but quickly calmed himself down. In any case, with the blazing angel Zhao Mingyang here, Yi Bai's grasshopper shouldn't be able to jump around today. The jeep continued towards Luopan town. And on the other side of Luopan town. On the land filled with blood, more than half of the more than 100 people in Luopan town were now dead or injured. Even those who were still alive had fear on their faces. These mutated creatures are too terrifying and cannot be defeated by them at all. If they hadn't seen Yi Bai and Mo Yuan still struggling, they would have wanted to turn around and run away. But no matter how strong Yi Bai is, he can't resist so many mutated creatures. After killing a dozen more mutated creatures, he couldn't help but feel a sense of exhaustion in his body. Including those he shot before, he has killed more than 50 mutant creatures, but there are still more than 40 mutant creatures present. Apart from him, the one who killed the most was Mo Yuan, killing 5 mutant creatures. As for the others, they only killed 3 mutated creatures together, and they had to sacrifice a huge amount. Their biggest role is actually to prevent these mutated creatures from entering the town. But if you defend for a long time, you will lose. As fewer and fewer humans still have fighting ability. There were still a few mutated creatures that broke through the defense and rushed into the town. Not long after, various miserable screams were heard coming from inside. For those humans inside who have no fighting talent, it is a one-sided massacre. Hearing the screams coming from the town, Yi Bai clenched his fists and his eyes turned red. Although he said that there were scalpers guarding his home, if more mutated ferocious beasts entered the town, he didn't know whether the scalpers could completely guard against them. Moreover, this was the town where he grew up, and seeing it destroyed like this made him feel heartbroken. I just killed so many beasts, I wonder if anything good will come out. However, the more it got to this point, the more Yi Bai knew he had to calm down. Bang! After killing a mutated wild boar with one punch, he took 2 steps back and quickly focused his attention on searching for the reserve space. Is this a sword technique? After a moment, he suddenly became energetic. In the reserve space, the dozens of mutated creatures that Yi Bai killed just now mainly revealed 3 things that were very useful to him now. The first one is a sword technique called Ninefold Thunder Sword. This sword technique can release the dark energy in the body and exert greater power with less physical strength. There are 9 levels in total. The first level can release twice the power, the second level can release twice the power, and so on. The 9th level can directly release 10 times the power. Cut with one sword and everything will open. After Yi Bai opened the jade slip of this technique, he directly integrated and mastered the first level. In addition, he has practiced the Great Thunder Sound Breathing technique, which can even make his blade carry thunder power, making it more powerful. This is definitely a big improvement for his strength. You must know that although he had an extraordinary alloy sword before, because he did not have matching sword skills, the power of the sword he used was actually not as powerful as the powerful bull demon fist. It often took 3 or 4 swords to kill a head. Mutated creatures. The use of the powerful bull demon fist requires a lot of physical strength. If used continuously, the body will appear very tired. Now with this sword technique, even if it is only the first level, its power is not inferior to the powerful bull demon fist. And because of the weapons, the energy consumption is greatly reduced, which is very suitable for large-scale team battles like today. The second thing is the extraordinary alloy shield. It is made of an extraordinary alloy. The shield surface is smooth, but it seems to have a special kind of tempering, making it indestructible. This object and the extraordinary alloy sword should be a set, with a shield in one hand and a sword in the other. During combat, it can greatly improve one's own protection capabilities. The third thing is an iron chain called the Purgatory Chain. This chain is very magical. According to the introduction, it can be retracted and retracted freely, and its length can reach tens of meters. And once it touches the target, it will automatically entangle the target, making it difficult for the target to break free, and the target will feel as if they are in purgatory and appear in agony. However, it is not suitable for those who are too strong, because the chain itself is not magical iron and can be broken. In any case, these 3 things can obviously enhance Yi Bai's combat effectiveness. Among them, the most timely sword technique is the 9-layer thunder knife. With this sword technique, he can greatly reduce his physical consumption and increase the speed at which he kills mutated creatures. Closing his eyes slightly, he already mastered the first level of the 9-level thunder sword. When he opened his eyes again, he could see that he was surrounded by 2 mutant wild wolves and a mutant wild boar. Ouch! The next moment, the 3 mutated creatures roared and rushed towards him. Death! Yi Bai's eyes narrowed, and he clenched the extraordinary alloy knife in his hand. Then he first dodged to avoid the attack of the first mutated wild wolf, and then struck back with a knife. Hiss! It was obvious that after the sword was swung, the air seemed to become smoother. There was no obstacle under the blade. The blade fell on the mutant wolf, just like cutting on tofu. It was extremely smooth and sank directly into the neck of the mutant wolf, almost killing the mutant wolf. A wolf head was chopped off directly. You must know that the defense power of these mutated creatures is far beyond ordinary. This effect can be achieved with one strike, which shows how terrifying the power of this 9-fold thunder knife is. It's cool. Seeing this, Yi Bai couldn't help but feel excited. The knife just now didn't seem to consume much of his energy, and he actually killed a mutant wolf directly. Quickly, he retracted the long knife, without stopping, and immediately moved the blade horizontally. The second mutated wild wolf that rushed over had its stomach cut open by the knife, and its intestines were immediately pierced and rotten, and the turbid contents flowed all over the floor. Although he was still struggling on the ground and did not die immediately, it was obvious that he would not survive for long. Yi Bai ignored it, and Tang Tang continued to move forward, once again slashing out at the remaining mutated wild boar. This time he used a little more strength, and the thunder molecules in his body activated together. Puff! As a result, this knife fell on the mutated wild boar's head, and all he could see was that the incision was black as if it had been struck by lightning. Then he cut off most of the pig's head forcefully. The pig blood spurted out, making the scene look very ferocious and bloody for a moment. But after using the sword technique of the 9-level Thunder Sword, he actually killed 3 mutated creatures in just a few encounters. This efficiency has obviously improved a lot compared to just now. Everyone, hold on. We will definitely win. At that moment, Yi Bai felt his blood boiling. Looking at the remaining more than 40 mutated creatures, he shouted to encourage everyone, and then charged towards the other mutated creatures again, past. While charging, he also took out the extraordinary alloy shield. Facing the mutated wild boar that was charging head-on, he didn't even have to spend time to dodge and used this shield to block it. Bang! Although he felt a strong impact, Yi Bai stood firmly on the spot. This extraordinary alloy shield could eliminate most of the collision force, but the mutated wild boar knocked him unconscious. For a moment, he was armed with a sword and a shield, as if he was in a deserted place. Among these more than 40 mutated creatures, they were killing each other crazily with their swords raised and lowered again and again. Little Yi Zi is so strong. We will definitely win. We must not let these beasts enter our town again. Seeing this scene, everyone else was surprised and excited. With an awakener as strong as Yi Bai, they have also reduced a lot of pressure. At this time, they only need to hold on. Brother Yi, why are you killing more and more fiercely? Looking at Yi Bai's figure like the god of war, Mo Yuan swallowed his saliva, feeling really shocked from the bottom of his heart. It was him who originally had pessimistic thoughts, but now he was suddenly rekindled. Brother Yi is like a god, and I should also be like an immortal. With a low roar, he rushed to kill with all his strength. And it was at this time. While everyone was paying attention to Yi Bai and the mutated creatures, no one noticed that several jeeps slowly stopped not far from the battlefield. The one at the front was none other than Seraph Zhao Mingyang, Lu Jinghui and others. As soon as they arrived, they also saw the mutated corpses of the creatures here in Yi Bai's figure like the god of war. How is it possible? Lu Jinghui recognized Yi Bai first. He stared at him in disbelief. His fists were so jealous that his nails almost pierced into his flesh. A mutated creature emerges with one strike. He couldn't imagine that Yi Bai's strength had already expanded to this extent after just a few days of absence. If you let it continue to develop, wouldn't it mean that it would become something that the entire Lu family could not deal with? It finally dawned on him that it was no wonder his father wanted to kill it at all costs. Moreover, he also discovered that not only Yi Bai, but also Mo Yuan, who had always been treated like a waste by him, was now able to surpass him in strength. This was an unacceptable blow to him. How could there be such a powerful awakened person in a small Luopan town? Even Seraph Zhao Mingyang couldn't help but be very surprised when he saw the scene in front of him. Although these mutated creatures were nothing to him, he knew very well that it would be very troublesome to deal with even an ordinary grade A talent awakener. Now this person is chopping melons and vegetables, one knife at a time. This man is so awesome. Could it be that these mutated creatures are fake? Everyone else in the jeep was dumbfounded. This was extremely shocking to ordinary awakened people. Mr. Zhao, what should we do now? If this continues, we mutant creatures will probably be killed by this person. Lu Jinghui's eyes were about to burst into flames as he watched Yi Bai become more and more courageous as he fought, and his heart sank. Deliberately spoke to Zhao Mingyang. This awakened one is indeed quite powerful. I originally thought that a small town like Luopan town would be wiped out directly, but I didn't expect that such a monster would appear. Zhao Mingyang's expression was light and seemed to have a playful smile. If these mutated creatures are killed by him, then, wouldn't our work have been in vain? Lu Jinghui gritted his teeth and continued to provoke. Who said he killed them all? Zhao Mingyang suddenly smiled and laughed at this time. Then he stood up at the jeep station, looked at the battlefield jokingly and said, these mutated creatures were naturally killed by my Seraph. And we also saved Luopan town, which was about to be destroyed. Of course, it's also my fault that I came a little late, and some awakened people were sacrificed. Among them was a young awakened person with great talent and potential, who unfortunately died in the mouth of a mutated creature. Here, I would like to express my condolences in advance. As he spoke, he slowly rose into the air, a pair of huge fiery red wings spread out, covering the sky and the sun. The temperature around him increased rapidly, as if he replaced the sun and was scorching the earth. Chapter 41. Seeing that there were fewer and fewer mutated ferocious beasts present, and soon there would only be a dozen or so left, Yi Bai couldn't help but feel slightly relaxed. He had been killing with such high intensity, even with the ninefold thunder knife, he was still exhausted. It will be over soon. He calmed down and just wanted to spare no effort and speed up a little more. At this moment, he suddenly felt a scorching heat coming from the sky. This kind of burning heat has exceeded the morning sun exposure, which is very unusual. This is Seraphim. Yi Bai's heart skipped a beat. He raised his head and saw a figure with flame wings spread out in the sky, like an angel descending to earth. He had also seen a lot of related videos, so he naturally recognized this nationally famous awakener. This person can not only fly using his flame wings, but also launch dense flame attacks. His strength can be said to be very powerful, and he is popular among the people. He now has more than 10 million fans on Douyin. I just didn't expect that I would meet here. From the temperature coming from the flame wings in the sky, Yi Bai could also tell that the rumors were true. This Seraph might really have a strength that far exceeded that of an ordinary A-level awakened person. It's just. How did he get the chance to appear here? Yi Bai's eyes followed the sky and then looked into the distance. After a moment, his eyes focused hard. He saw a familiar figure. Lu Jinghui. Why is he here? Seeing this person, Yi Bai was furious and felt an extremely bad premonition. Is this beast wave really related to Lu Jinghui, the second-generation ancestor? What about this Seraph angel? His eyes returned to the sky again, and Zhao Mingyang, the blazing angel flying in the sky, happened to land on him with a hint of amusement. Eyes facing each other, there seemed to be an indescribable atmosphere spreading. The figure in the sky also attracted the attention of other awakened people in Luopan town. Wings of flame, are these seraphs? He is actually the strongest awakened seraph in our country at this stage. How could he appear here? It shouldn't be wrong. I've seen his video on Douyin. It's exactly the same. Great, is he here to save us? We are saved. What's the use of coming now? Little Yeezy has almost killed these beasts. The already exhausted crowd couldn't help but feel excited. Almost all of them felt that with an awakened person as strong as Yi Bai, and now the strongest awakened person, Seraph, they would be able to kill all these mutated ferocious beasts. Although some people complained that the Seraph arrived too late, in general, everyone could not help but relax a little, feeling that everyone would be much more relaxed in the future. Even the mutated ferocious beasts seemed to have slowed down their attack movements at this time, staring intently at the sky. This guy looks like a real slut. But there's no point in coming here now. Why don't he come again after we finish killing him? I seriously doubt he's here to steal the credit. Mo Yuan dodged and said, when he came to Yi Bai's side, with their backs to each other, he secretly complained. Look over there. Yi Bai looked serious and just asked Mo Yuan to look at the jeep in the distance. What? Lu Jinghui. Why is he here? After looking at it, Mo Yuan stared and became alert. Both he and Yi Bai knew very well that Lu Jinghui's presence here would definitely mean nothing good. He just finished speaking. A sudden change occurred. Zhao Mingyang, the blazing angel in the sky, raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and then he stretched out his flame wings and flapped violently under his control. Bang, bang, it's like the fire on the flame mountain being fanned by a banana fan. Soon, fireballs filled the sky, like meteorites suddenly appeared in the sky, and suddenly fell towards the mutated ferocious beasts and the crowd below. Indiscriminate attack. How come? What does this Seraph want to do? Is he going to kill us all? Oh my god, this Seraph is going to kill someone. Seeing this scene, everyone seemed to have seen something incredible, with disbelief on their faces. The short videos shot by this Seraph on Douyin all portray himself as the guardian of the country and the people. Who would have thought that he would actually massacre ordinary people? In an instant, everyone felt that the building of their inner faith had collapsed. Seeing this terrifying blazing fireball covering the whole sky, despair spread all over their bodies, and there was no way to escape. This guy is actually a traitor. Mo Yuan was furious, but was helpless. Yi Bai's expression was gloomy, and he was filled with anger. He stepped on it and rose into the sky. He first used the extraordinary alloy shield in his hand to resist the densest fire from the sky. Those fireballs hit the shield, and a banging sound could be heard. At the same time, a kind of burning heat also spread to his palms. The feeling was like putting his hands on a red-hot iron pot. Yi Bai gritted his teeth and endured it. Unfortunately, even so, the range that the shield can resist is still limited, and many fireballs still fall below. Anyone who is hit by these fireballs, whether it is a mutated ferocious beast or an awakened person in Luopan town, will not only be directly injured, but also the whole body will be burned, and it will be difficult to extinguish it even if it rolls on the ground. The Seraph Zhao Mingyang killed 5 or 6 mutated ferocious beasts in just one attack, but the awakened ones also suffered serious casualties as a result. You know, even Yi Bai can only kill 1 mutated ferocious beast at most in one go. Such strength is simply shocking and terrifying. Yi Bai fell to the ground again and looked back. Several familiar faces had died directly in the fireball attack just now. He clenched his fists tightly, with anger surging in his heart. He raised his head and stared into the air. Oh, you can actually block my flame attack. Let's see if you can resist the second time. Looking at Yi Bai, Zhao Mingyang's face became more amused, and he was about to flap his flame wings again. You will die. Yi Bai's eyes were red and his face was extremely cold. He never wanted to speculate on human beings with the greatest malice, but he did not expect that there are still human beings who can be so cold-blooded and kill innocent people with such no bottom line. Bang! The next moment, without saying a word, Yi Bai threw away the shield in his hand, replaced it with a small thunder bow, and wanted to shoot down the blazing angel from the sky. Do you think you have a chance? A playful smile appeared on Seraph's face, and he flapped his wings at will. As he flew, another stream of sky fire came down, and he smashed it randomly, giving Yi Bai no chance to aim. Yi Bai couldn't lock on Seraph, and if this continued, there would be more casualties on the Luopan town side. Finally, he put away the small thunder bow, stepped into the sky, and flew directly towards the body of Seraph Zhao Mingyang in midair. His melee combat ability is also not weak. He can actually fly. On the jeep in the distance, Lu Jinghui saw Yi Bai flying away, and couldn't help but have a look of shock on his face. He never thought that Yi Bai would awaken such a terrifying talent. He is envious, he is jealous, he hates. However, no matter how strong you are, today is going to end. You are dead. He gritted his teeth and watched Yi Bai fly towards Zhao Mingyang, imagining the joy of Yi Bai being killed. Seraph is the strongest awakened person in the country at this stage. It is definitely not something that Yi Bai can challenge. Can you still fly? Zhao Mingyang couldn't help but have a look of interest on his face at this time. With such a strong power, he could actually fly. The young man in front of him was really beyond his expectation. But this way, it's more interesting. Killing a monster with unlimited potential was a great sense of accomplishment for him. As he flapped his flame wings, a large number of fireballs appeared again, and the torrential flames were like a hail of bullets, like a meteor passing by. Compared to the first formation just now, this time it was even more fierce. Once these flames fall below, they will definitely cause greater casualties. But this time, these flame attacks did not fall to the ground, but all went towards Yi Bai alone. He wants to kill Yi Bai first. Brother Yi, be careful. Little Yi Zi, be careful. Seraph, this beast, kill him on the same day and on the earth. Seeing this dense fireball blasting towards Yi Bai like a violent storm, everyone below couldn't help but sweat for Yi Bai. Everyone has seen the strength of this Seraph. Just one attack killed so many mutated creatures and awakened ones instantly. In the eyes of everyone, no matter how strong Yi Bai was, there was still a gap between him and the first awakened person in the country. How could Yi Bai resist such an attack? For a moment, some people even closed their eyes, unable to bear to see what happened next. But Yi Bai, who was in midair, seemed very calm at this time. He was completely unafraid in the face of the violent fireball, and just continued to soar in the direction of Seraph. Until those fireballs were about to fall on him. Roar! A roar suddenly came from within Yi Bai's body. Deafening. Then everyone was surprised to find that a large golden bell slowly emerged on his body and kept rotating, protecting his entire body within it. Tiger Roaring Golden Bell. This is the defensive technique that Yi Bai used when he killed Master Yang. Once activated, a golden bell will cover the body surface, which can withstand a large number of attacks. Visible to the naked eye, the fireballs sent by Seraph Zhao Mingyang landed on the golden bell on Yi Bai's body, and were smashed into pieces by the rotating wind and flew away in all directions. In the end, even though the roaring golden bell became much darker, but Yi Bai inside was safe and sound. Even his flying speed has not slowed down much, and he is gradually approaching Seraph. Brother Yi is awesome. Little Yi Zi is so awesome. Seeing this scene, Mo Yuan below and the awakened people in Luopan town couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, and each one shouted excitedly. No one thought that Yi Bai could withstand such a blow. How could he be so strong? On the distant jeep, Lu Jinghui, who originally thought that Yi Bai was dead, saw this scene and his whole body was as if he had been struck by lightning. He froze, his eyes filled with disbelief. That was a blow that could kill 5 or 6 mutated creatures and 5 or 6 awakened ones at one time. Can Yi Bai resist it alone? What kind of talent has he awakened? How could he still have such a strong defense? Lu Jinghui gritted his teeth and his lips began to bleed. He really couldn't accept Yi Bai's strength. Once again it was beyond his expectations. Zhao Mingyang, the blazing angel in the sky, could not help but feel a touch of emotion on his face, which had always been very confident. He knows his own strength well. His claim to be the strongest awakened person is not for nothing. Even the awakened person who is rumored to have the strongest defense recently and is known as the Golden Arhat, may not be able to withstand such a blow. The Yi Bai in front of him was obviously very powerful and could fly. How could he still have such a strong defense? And he withstood all his attacks and was still unharmed. Such a comprehensive ability generally does not exist among physically awakened people. This is a bit beyond his understanding of talents and awakened people. Okay. Then he smiled ferociously, looking a little sickly. Such an awakened person is definitely a level 3 awakener. Once killed by him, the sense of accomplishment will be unparalleled. Suddenly gaining the power to be arrogant made him unlike a normal person, and he even enjoyed this morbid feeling. As soon as he thought this, the flame wings behind him flapped again, this time 3 times in a row. Every time, extremely hot flames will be generated in the wings, and finally these masses of flames will merge into 2 galloping fire leopards. Ho ho! The 2 fire leopards roared with flames and pounced directly towards Yi Bai, who was already 10 meters away. The scorching heat they brought seemed to burn the air, and the whole world was as hot as summer. Even though they were far apart, the people below could still feel the heat wave hitting their faces, and they couldn't help but sweat profusely. This Seraph is too strong. Can Xiao Yeji be able to resist it this time? Yi Bai looked at the sky one after another, raising his heart to his throat again, holding his breath, unable to calm down. Yi Bai's eyes were fixed, his expression cold and unchanged. The whistling golden bell on his body roared again, once again blooming with dazzling golden brilliance. Boom! The first fire leopard pounced first, as if a real cheetah pounced on its prey. The flame claws bit the golden bell crazily, striking with flames again and again. Bang! 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 Half of the sky was dyed red by the flames. During the impact, the golden brilliance gradually dimmed, like a lonely boat in the sea, teetering on the edge. Boom! Until finally, there was an explosion, and the flaming fire leopard and the golden bell finally cancelled each other out and disappeared into the air together. But there is also a fire leopard. Everyone below was shocked. A fire leopard was so powerful. Without the protection of the golden bell, how could Yi Bai resist this other fire leopard? Ha ha! Yi Bai, you are finally going to die. Lu Jinghui couldn't help laughing, and his clenched fists gradually relaxed, feeling an indescribable joy. No matter how strong Yi Bai was before, he was powerless at this moment and could only accept death. Although you are very strong, that's it for now. Seraph Zhao Mingyang also relaxed at this moment. This attack actually consumed a lot of money for him. Even he wouldn't be able to sustain such an extreme talent for a long time. However, now it seems that it can be solved once and for all. The remaining fire leopard, without the protection of the golden bell, knew that Yi Bai couldn't resist it no matter what. As long as Yi Bai is dealt with, no one else has to worry about him, and he can easily be dealt with by others. But, at this moment, mutations reborn. Yi Bai, who was supposed to be swallowed by the fire leopard, had a transparent shield appear on his body at this moment. He looked powerless, but he ate the fire leopard forcefully. This is the golden cicada treasure Yi Bai got when he killed the 5 awakened ones of Luo Diang. This piece of golden cicada treasure clothing is colorless and invisible, as if it is nothing, but at critical times, it still has strong defense power. After eating this fire leopard, Yi Bai only felt that his body surface was a little hot and his skin was slightly red, but he could feel that his body was completely uninjured. After resisting the blow, he quickly approached the Seraph Zhao Mingyang, holding an extraordinary alloy knife. The thunder factor hidden in the cells in the body trembled crazily at this moment, creating a resonance. Ninefold thunder knife. Cut it out with one knife. How is it possible? The danger was approaching, and the light of the sword stung his eyes. Only then did Seraph Zhao Mingyang react. At this moment, a look of panic and difficulty finally emerged on his face that had always been full of confidence and fun. Seraph is known as the first awakened person in the country. Zhao Mingyang has long been accustomed to being arrogant and complacent. It can be said that before, he felt that others were rated as grade A because they only had grade A talent, while he was rated as a grade 3 talent because the highest level was grade 3. Even though Yi Bai gave him some surprises before, he still thought that everything was under his control. If he activates his greatest talent to launch an attack, no one in the entire country should be able to catch it. However, reality gave him a heavy blow. Yi Bai actually resisted his strongest attack, and now he was within 3 feet of him. The dazzling sword light made him think that this was just his illusion. But when the knife was about to hit him, he reacted and became furious with shame. Hoo-hoo! The flame wings behind him quickly rolled forward, like an eagle protecting its calf. His head retracted unwillingly, using these wings to protect his body. Then, the knife fell on the flame wings. Bang! Sparks are flying and flames are roaring. Suddenly, it was like a volcano erupting in midair, showing a magnificent scene. The gazes below couldn't help but froze when they saw this scene. This is Seraph, the strongest awakened person known throughout the country. Before today, Yi Bai was an ordinary awakened person who had almost no reputation in the country. This young man not only withstood all of Seraph's strongest attacks, but he was also able to counterattack, putting Seraph in such an embarrassing situation. At best, he is like an eagle protecting his calf. At worst, he is like a turtle with a shrunken head. Okay, Brother Yi is so awesome. This rotten turkey to death. Mo Yuan shouted excitedly. Such a scene really made his blood boil. He wished he could fly into the sky and fight with Yi Bai side by side. A battle between seraphs. Impossible. How is it possible? At this time, Lu Jinghui was even more stunned. He stared at the sky with dull eyes, and his whole body felt cold. How could this Yi Bai be so strong? How could he? At this time, he actually started to worry a little. Seraph was no match for Yi Bai. No, Seraph is so strong, how could he not be able to defeat Yi Bai? Soon, he gritted his teeth and shook his head violently to get rid of this ridiculous idea in his mind. But as the sky rose, the flame wings on Zhao Mingyang's body began to gradually turn gray. This thought was that no matter how hard he rushed, he couldn't get rid of it. Impossible, impossible, impossible. And in the sky, the blazing angel Zhao Mingyang, wrapped in flame wings, is now filled with a kind of humiliation. Since awakening his talent, he never thought that he would have such a frustrating moment. He was uniquely blessed, and after awakening, he gathered the power of his family and digested more than 200 awakening crystal nuclei. His control over the flames has reached an unparalleled level. But at this moment, he met his opponent. An opponent he originally looked down upon, but slapped him hard in the face. Feeling that the energy of the flame wings was constantly decreasing, Zhao Mingyang finally couldn't bear it anymore. He suddenly broke out and desperately activated his hidden talent. In the next moment, boom, an explosion shook the earth, as if the mountains and rivers were shaking and the stars were about to fall. A rolling heat wave swept across the sky. Yi Bai also felt the scorching heat rushing towards his face. The terrifying heat was about to burn his skin through Jin Chan's treasured clothes. The huge explosive impact made him fly backwards. The Seraph Zhao Mingyang, who was originally curled up in the wings of flames, has now spread his wings again, but at this moment, he is so angry that his whole body is actually covered in flames, and he seems to have turned into a burning man. His eyes were red and seemed to be breathing fire. You should feel honored to die for being able to push me to this point. Looking at Yi Bai with fire-breathing eyes, Zhao Mingyang flapped his flame wings again. This time, his whole body flew towards Yi Bai like a rocket. The fist wrapped in flames, like a meteorite, slammed towards Yi Bai. This time, he chose the melee state. In this state, he can have faster speed and stronger attack power, but it will consume a lot of himself and cannot last long. He needs a quick fix. What I hate the most is a pretentious person like you. Yi Bai's brows darkened, and he couldn't stand it. All the thunder particles in the cells in his body suddenly gathered in one punch. Powerful bull demon fist. He gave up his sword for fists. This punch uses all the strength of the whole body. His arms seemed to have turned into a wild bull. Even in the face of a ferocious tiger, it moved forward unstoppably. Boom! A pair of fists, refusing to give way to each other in midair, collided fiercely. The muffled sound shook the sky, the dark night thundered, and the sparks exploded. After a moment, a figure flew backwards. When the figure stabilized, everyone was surprised to find that the one who was repelled was the Seraph Zhao Mingyang, who had just come on fiercely and seemed to be invincible in the world. Even in this stronger second form, he is no match for Yi Bai. After glancing at the Seraph who couldn't accept the reality, Yi Bai actually already knew that in terms of group attacks, he was indeed inferior to the opponent for the time being, but in terms of single combat effectiveness, after practicing the Great Thunder sound breathing technique, he would never lose to him. People. Ah! After being repelled again, Zhao Mingyang yelled wildly, as if his inner defenses had been broken. The flames on his body rose and charged towards Yi Bai again. Noisy. Yi Bai looked calm, and suddenly a black chain appeared in his hand. This is what was revealed by killing this batch of mutated creatures before. Its name is Purgatory Chain. This chain of purgatory can be retracted and retracted freely. Once it ties a person, it will give him mental torture, like falling into hell. Of course, if the opponent is too strong, the effect will not be very good. Now that Seraph has consumed a lot and is distracted, it is just the right time to take action. Seeing the Seraph charging towards him again, he threw the chain away. Whoosh! Infernal chains can automatically lock enemies. Zhao Mingyang, who was still in a flying state, felt his eyes go dark and quickly dodged, but his arm was still wrapped by the chains of hell. Suddenly, he felt as if he had fallen into an abyss. An extremely terrifying scene appeared before his eyes, a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood, accompanied by demons and monsters. He experienced the most terrifying thing in the world. Infinite karma is like water plants in the Black Sea, and countless tentacles stretch out from where his arms are chained, trying to swallow him whole. At this moment, a kind of extreme fear appeared on Zhao Mingyang's face. Originally, this was an emotion that he had never experienced before when he was so domineering. He panicked, he was afraid. Ah, let me go, please let me go. His image as Mr. Zhao disappeared in this moment. Some people even saw raindrops dripping on his trouser legs, as if he was scared to pee. Do you think it's possible? Yi Bai's face was actually a little tired. This Seraph's reputation as the first awakened person in the country was not in vain. If it weren't for this chain of purgatory, he would probably be difficult to deal with. Then he pulled the chain, trying to pull the Seraph over. Puff! However, at this moment, Seraph, who had peed his pants in fear, did something that everyone expected. Unable to break free from the chains of purgatory, he actually cut off his right arm. Blood started to spurt out. Although the wound was soon burned by the flames and stopped after a while, his face obviously turned pale and he was seriously injured. After breaking his arm, Zhao Mingyang gave Yi Bai a vicious look, as if he wanted to remember this person firmly. Then, without even saying a word, he just used some unknown method to wrap his whole body in flames again, and then he burst out with a super speed, turning into fire and fleeing into the distance. Seeing this, Yi Bai frowned. He didn't realize that the other party would even break his arm to escape. In fact, he was very exhausted in this battle. He was at the end of his strength and it was too late to pursue him. Call out. So he quickly took out his small thunder bow, drew it to full capacity, and shot 3 arrows in a row, one of which hit the enemy. This Seraph was so fast that he had already escaped 2 kilometers away. In fact, if he hadn't been seriously injured and eager to escape, he might not have been able to hit even a single arrow. Puff! Blood was once again thrown into the air, pouring like rain. Seraph paused for a moment, the firelight became even dimmer, and then like a kite with a broken string, it fell hard into the dense mountain forest. Seraph is dead, how is it possible? Lu Jinghui, below, was shocked to the point of numbness. As he watched Zhao Mingyang be forced into his second form, and finally Zhao Mingyang was forced to break off his arm to escape, he was extremely shocked by these scenes that he could not imagine. Even now, he still hasn't reacted. After a while, Lu Jinghui woke up as if from a dream. He felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar in June. His whole body was chilled, his feet began to tremble, and he was extremely frightened. Quick, let's go. After a while, he gathered some strength and hurriedly reminded the awakened person driving the jeep. Some of the awakened people on these jeeps were brought by the Zhao family, and some were from the Lu family. Like Lu Jinghui, they were also shocked by the scene where the Seraph broke his arm and escaped just now, and they were unable to move. No one thought that the most powerful awakened person in the country would be forced to this extent in a remote town and village in Luopan town, and he might even have died here. Brother Yi, that Lu Jinghui wants to run away. At this time, Mo Yuan shouted quickly. On the other side, Yi Bai was planning to enter the dense forest to search for Seraph. But after all, Seraph himself is a first-rate talent, and he has concentrated his family's strength to digest a large number of awakening crystal nuclei before, and the degree of awakening is far higher than that of ordinary top 3. In this desperate escape situation, the speed was astonishingly fast. Yi Bai had killed dozens of mutated creatures and was severely exhausted. He was already at the end of his battle with Seraph, and for a moment, he was unable to catch up. Seraph is working so hard, even if he can't die for the time being, he should be close to death. Moreover, he killed so many civilians in public, with so many witnesses, and someone took a video, so he will be in more trouble than if he is dead. Just even his family will suffer. Hearing Mo Yuan's voice, Yi Bai looked at the dense forest below and had to come back to his senses. His eyes fell on the stunned Lu Jinghui on the jeep below. Now, maybe we can settle another account first. The evil done by this man is no less evil than Seraph. If he went to find Seraph, these people might start a fight between trapped beasts and put Luopan town in danger again. Mo Yuan may not be able to withstand it. We are from the Zhao family in Guangcheng. Seeing Yi Bai falling towards them, an awakened person mustered up the courage to shout. Drive quickly. Lu Jinghui was shocked and angry. He knew very well that Yi Bai was already murderous and could not care about their background. He kicked the driver violently towards the cab and told the driver to run for his life. Unfortunately, it's too late. Yi Bai fell quickly and was in front of their car in a blink of an eye. Now he is so angry that he no longer has any kindness. Although these people are not the masterminds, they are inseparable from the creation of the beast tide. There is a price to pay. He raised and lowered his sword, one at a time. Even the B-level awakeners looked too weak in front of him. They were not on the same level at all. He spared no one who screamed, ran for his life, or knelt down to beg for mercy. In the end, only Lu Jinghui was left. Lu Jinghui attacked Yi Bai in an instant with a punch speed of more than 100 punches in 3 seconds. Yi Bai had disdain on his face and raised his hand slightly. Bang! He directly grabbed Lu Jinghui's high-speed fist, and no matter how hard the opponent struggled, he didn't move at all. Lu Jinghui's talent, which he was originally proud of, has become as weak as a child in front of him. Yi Bai, for the sake of us being classmates, let me go. It's really none of my business. It was Seraph, it was Zhao Mingyang who did it. Lu Jinghui's face was filled with fear, and he knelt down as soon as his legs went weak. Lu Jinghui, you have today too. At this time, Mo Yuan also killed all the remaining mutated creatures. Xiaobu rushed over and looked at Lu Jinghui, feeling a little happy. Lu Jinghui did not dare to reply at all, but continued to kneel on the ground, raising his head and begging Yi Bai. It was Seraph Zhao Mingyang who wanted to hunt mutant creatures. He asked us to drive mutant creatures out of the protected area. We all obeyed him. It's really none of my business, please let me go. Yi Bai frowned, the cause of this matter was now clear. It turns out that the beast tide incident that caused the catastrophe in Luopan town was really caused by humans, and the initiator was really Zhao Mingyang. But Lu Jinghui definitely has something to do with it. Lu Jinghui, do you think we will believe that this matter has nothing to do with you? Don't think that we don't know what you did. Mo Yuan was recording with his cell phone at this time, with disdain on his face. He didn't believe a word the second-generation ancestor said. But now that he has recorded the evidence first, not only Lu Jinghui, but also Seraph can't escape. Yi Bai, Mo Yuan. No, Brother Yi, Brother Mo, I promise, I will never appear in front of you again. After all, we are all classmates, and I even invited you to dinner. And I can compensate you. No matter how much it is. Lu Jinghui could feel that Yi Bai's murderous aura had not diminished at all at this moment. His survival instinct made him cry for mercy. He gave up all dignity and just hoped Yi Bai could spare his life. Have you really considered me a classmate? Yi Bai said calmly. Even if we don't mention the previous incident where the Lu family had people hunt him down because of a small dispute, Lu Jinghui was already guilty of an unpardonable crime just for participating in artificially creating a tide of beasts to attack Luopan town. Naturally, it cannot be erased by just one sentence from a classmate. That's it for now. He didn't say any more. The extraordinary alloy knife in his hand flashed with light. Yi Bai, I still have a secret. Feeling the approaching aura of death, Lu Jinghui opened his eyes unwillingly and wanted to make a final struggle. There was no stagnation when the blade passed by. Lu Jinghui finally stared and refused to rest in peace. He remembered the past. Although he and Yi Bai Meyuan are in the same class, what kind of person he is, except for Lin Qingwan, he is famous even in the whole school. Yi Bai is so transparent, he usually doesn't even take a second look. But he never would have imagined that after the world changed, everything would change drastically. Yi Bai not only awakened a talent that he could not imagine, but also forced Seraph, a person known as the strongest awakener in the country, to break his arm and run away. The second-level talent that he was originally proud of was nothing before it. He, Lu Jinghui, was even reduced to the point where he could not survive without kneeling down to beg for mercy, and he did not even have the ability to resist at all. He felt unwilling. He felt that he shouldn't end his life like this. He might have become a stronger person. Given time, my grade B talent may not be able to evolve into a grade A talent. However, this is reality. As the vitality gradually left his body, Lu Jinghui soon fell to the ground, and those random thoughts stopped abruptly. I didn't expect that Lu Jinghui would be here today. Mo Yuan on the side couldn't help but sigh slightly. Even during the killing just now, he was used to the cruel world after the great changes, but after all, he was once a familiar person, so he still felt a little sad. Of course, in his opinion, Lu Jinghui deserved it. What he missed was just the past school days. Let's go, some mutated creatures just entered the town, we have to deal with them as soon as possible. Yi Bai did not look at Lu Jinghui on the ground. His recent experience made his heart feel like he had lost love 99 times. Just as numb. As for Lu Jinghui's last secret, he had no interest in knowing it. There should be no problem with Dawang watching in the town. Mo Yuan said. He knew the strength of the scalper. It could beat him with blood. A few D-level mutated creatures were definitely not a problem. Yi Bai's body flashed and he returned to the battlefield. In addition to the mutated ferocious beast corpses here, there are also many human corpses scattered here and there. It turned out that in the entire Luopan town, out of more than 100 combatants, only less than 50 were still standing. Moreover, all of them were injured and looked exhausted. Little Yi Zi, are you okay? But seeing Yi Bai back, they still seemed a little excited. The battle just now really made their blood boil. The Seraph, known as the strongest awakened person in the country, was defeated by the people in their town, and even forced the opponent to break off his arm and escape. They feel so proud. I'm fine, Uncle Shang, you. Yi Bai waved to everyone. At this moment, he suddenly saw a familiar figure among the people lying on the ground. He quickly walked over and helped him up. At this time, this strong man who looked like an iron pillar already looked very sluggish, and the wounds on his body were scorched black. This must have been indiscriminately attacked by Seraph. Little Yi Zi. Uncle Shang forced a smile, looked at Yi Bai and said, I can't survive, but I finally managed to hold on to the town. I have completed the task assigned to me by everyone. Uncle Shang, what do you want me to do? Yi Bai's mood was very complicated and uncomfortable at this time. He had saved the other party once just now, but he didn't expect that he couldn't save him in the end. May, my daughter, ahem. I hope you can take care of it for me if you have the chance. Uncle Shang coughed up black blood as he spoke. Finally, he turned his head hard and looked in the direction of Luopan town. He slowly fell down. It's so abominable. It's all that Seraph. He was the one who killed it. Seraph, the one who can kill 1,000 swords. Fortunately, Little Leaf has already killed him. I never thought Seraph was such a person. Do you think he is alive? Seeing this scene, the surrounding townspeople were all touched and cursed angrily. Whether he dies or not, Seraph kills innocent humans. We must report this to the Martial Arts Association. Someone suggested. But I heard that this blazing angel is from the Zhao family in Guangcheng and has a great background. I'm afraid it will be difficult for him to work, and he may get into trouble. But some people feel that there are many helplessness in life. Everyone, leave this matter to me. Yi Bai saw that Uncle Shang had lost his breath. He was silent for a long time before speaking up. As other townspeople say, it's easy to get into trouble if you let other people do these things. But for him, the trouble has already been caused, and he is not afraid of getting more trouble. Don't worry, everyone, even if Seraph is not dead, he is already finished. It is impossible for him to come out to do evil again. I, Mo Yuan, said so. Mo Yuan also patted his chest and said, he has a series of evidence in his hand, and he is ready to make big news. A catastrophe gradually came to an end. The mutant creatures that finally broke into the town were all killed. The corpses of those mutated creatures were also being processed by the townspeople, and the harvested source of evolution would naturally be sent back to him. It's just that the damage caused to the entire town was huge, not only the awakened people who sacrificed dozens or hundreds of combat talents, but also the buildings and innocent townspeople that were destroyed after the mutant creatures broke into the town. Yi Bai felt very guilty about this. Although Lu Jinghui said that the catastrophe was mainly caused by Seraph Zhao Mingyang, he also understood that it was impossible for Lu Jinghui and his hatred not to add fuel to the flames behind. Therefore, he still felt that this matter had something to do with him. Later, he also went to look for Zhao Mingyang, but unfortunately the other party ran for his life at all costs, but still could not find the other party's body. However, if Mo Yuan makes good use of the evidence in his hands, Zhao Mingyang should be dealt with by the Wushu Association even if he does not die this time. If the Wushu Association can't handle it, then he will do it himself. He would not hesitate to kill the Zhao family in Guangcheng. In addition, Yi Bai also spent a large amount of money as pensions for the sacrificed townspeople. For him now, because just stepping on an ant can explode money and items, he can take out a large amount of money at any time. He calculated the amount of cash in his reserve space, which amounted to tens of millions of yuan, as well as some gold and other valuable items. He decided to take out all the cash and give it away. After doing all this, Yi Bai returned home. He first comforted his parents who were worried about him, then returned to his room and continued to practice the great thunder sound breathing technique. After this time, he felt more and more urgent about improving his strength. If he had been stronger, maybe he wouldn't have sacrificed so many people in the town. He doesn't want this to happen again, so he needs to get stronger as soon as possible. After practicing until dusk, Yi Bai heard his breathing sound like thunder, and faintly, the thunder factor dormant in his body was also vibrating. He opened his eyes and made a fist. This battle cost him a lot, but after half a day of training, he felt that his physical condition had fully recovered, and he could also feel that his control over the thunder power in his body seemed to have improved to a higher level. That is to say, he can now bring more thunder and lightning in his attacks, which can greatly enhance the power of his powerful bull demon fist and nine-fold thunder sword. If I fight this Seraph again now, I will win much more easily. After thinking about it carefully, Yi Bai let out a breath and felt a little more relaxed. Brother Yi. At this moment, Mo Yuan's voice sounded outside the room. Yi Bai got up and opened the door. Whether that beast of Seraph is dead or not, he will be ruined and dead. Mo Yuan raised his phone with some excitement and said, "Today's incident, I collected some clips taken by myself and everyone. Not only does it contain evidence of Seraph's murder, but also Lu Jinghui's confession. I edited them all and posted them on Douyin. Now the video views have exceeded 1 million. Looking at the short video playing on Mo Yuan's phone, Yi Bai couldn't help but feel a little surprised. He did see Mo Yuan when he was taking pictures of Lu Jinghui, but when faced with the attacks of those mutated ferocious beasts and seraphs, few people dared to take out their mobile phones while distracted. After all, as soon as you take them out, you might be directly attacked. Seraph saw a fireball coming down. Even if there is, it will probably only be a short clip. And he didn't expect that Mo Yuan, who was usually not serious, actually secretly recorded most of the evidence of Seraph's murders at the critical moment. You know, the current order has not completely collapsed. A celebrity like Seraph would definitely be condemned if he did something like this. Now that there is video as evidence, even the Wushu Association cannot treat it as invisible. You did a great job this time. Yi Bai expressed his appreciation. He took the phone and looked at it. The title in big letters was, "Seraph with a human face and an animal heart. There is no bottom line in killing innocent people." Then the content is the scene where Kai Tian uses the flame wings to control the flames to attack humans indiscriminately, and there is also a close-up shot of the townspeople of Luopan town being killed by the sky fire. "Hey, I learned it all from Brother Yi." Mo Yuan looked humble. "Where's Lu Jinghui's part?" Yi Bai couldn't help but ask after watching for a while. Such behavior as creating a tide of beasts should be even more infuriating. Don't worry, we have to wait for the public opinion to ferment again. Look at the comments, there are some stupid fans of Seraph, and they are still washing the floor. But only when there is controversy can there be heat. Soon I will swollen their faces. Mo Yuan, but he said it quite meaningfully. Yi Bai opened the comments and took a look. Most of them were indeed condemning Seraph's behavior, but some people's remarks were indeed unsightly. I have to say, Seraph is too strong. Just one move killed so many mutant creatures. Although some humans were accidentally injured, I think this is understandable. If there are so many mutant creatures, if they are not dealt with as soon as possible, won't these humans also die? Yes, I think there is nothing wrong with Seraph. Now is no longer a time of peace. In extraordinary times, extraordinary means should naturally be used. Support Seraph. Although he accidentally killed a few people, he protected a town. Of course, there are many people who argue with these comments. As a result, the popularity of Mo Yuan's video has continued to rise. On the contrary, it has continued to increase in popularity, and many people are already on TikTok on the Wushu Association. This event began to accelerate fermentation. Look, it was just over 1 million, and now it's about to double. I feel like it's easy to break the 10 million mark tonight. Mo Yuan looked at the background and confirmed his theory. I thought we all went to school together, but I didn't expect you to secretly make up the class. Yi Bai was also a little impressed. He was indeed not as good as Mo Yuan in this regard. What the hell? These are all heresy, not as upright as Brother Yi. Mo Yuan was a little arrogant, but he still remembered who the brother was and didn't appear too arrogant. Wait a little longer, after 10 million views, I will release Lu Jinghui's video will kill this roasted chicken. You can take care of this, I believe you. Yi Bai patted Mo Yuan on the shoulder and prepared to go out. Before Uncle Shang died, he asked him to take care of his daughter. Although he had asked someone to take the money to go there today, he felt that he still had to go there in person, otherwise he would feel uneasy. Guangcheng, Zhao family. As one of the 4 major cities in China, Guangcheng plays a decisive role in the country. As one of the largest families in Guangcheng, the Zhao family can also be said to have profound knowledge and good eyesight. Before the big change, it had a strong influence in all walks of life. After the great changes, Seraph, the strongest awakened person, appeared, and even more so, many big families wanted to give the Zhao family some face. But today, a Douyin video plunged the entire Zhao family into a huge whirlpool. At this time, due to the issue of this video, prominent members of the Zhao family gathered here. Tianhao, this kid Mingyang really went too far this time. He actually caused such a big thing. You'd better call him out quickly and explain what happened. A clan elder took the lead in speaking. Said the voice. Yes, although the Wushu Association has a relationship with us, but now he is famous for killing people in public and being photographed. Others from the Zhao family also agreed. Okay, when Ming Yang comes back, I will naturally ask him to give everyone an explanation, but the problem is, he hasn't come back yet. Zhao Tianhao, the current helmsman of the Zhao family, slammed the table and said in a deep voice. How could he not know the pressure the Zhao family is facing now? He won't be afraid of crime and abscond, right? Someone said. But this time, no one dared to agree. If you continue talking, you will be violating the scale of the helmsman. Have you found out who sent the video? Zhao Tianhao's face was ashen and he just asked the subordinates on the side. Mr. Zhao, I only found out that he is a person named Mo Yuan, who is a student at a university in Yuncheng, and the address where this Douyin message was sent is in a place called Luopan Town near Yuncheng. It is said that Zhao Xiao got the news that there are a large number of mutated creatures over there, and he went there to hunt beasts. One person replied. Contact him and pay him to delete the video. Contact Douyin again to reduce the heat. Zhao Tianhao ordered. Mr. Zhao, we have contacted this Mo Yuan, but not only did he not delete the video, he also sent all the private messages we sent him. As for Douyin, the popularity has dropped a bit, but the spread is too fast and it can't be suppressed. However, we have invited the Navy to create the trend of Mr. Zhao for the overall situation, hoping to restore some reputation for Mr. Zhao. Quote. Is there any news about becoming famous? Zhao Tianhao's face became increasingly gloomy. Dad, at this moment, the entire family hall seemed to be in a furnace, suddenly becoming hot. Then everyone saw that Zhao Mingyang suddenly flew back from the outside, and then fell to the ground in an embarrassing manner in a posture that was close to a crash, and slid for more than 10 meters before stopping. Above the ground, it was scorched black. Zhao Mingyang, who had always been in high spirits, now looked ashen. Now, he has run out of gas and energy. After many hardships and gritting his teeth, he finally returned to the Zhao family for a long time. What's going on? Seeing this scene, everyone in the clan hall looked in disbelief. Although they usually know that Zhao Mingyang is domineering, they are also very aware of the strength of this Seraph. They couldn't imagine that anyone could make Seraph, known as the strongest awakener, look like this. Is this a bitter trick? Some people secretly speculated in their hearts and did not dare to say it out loud. However, many people feel that this is the most suitable explanation. Zhao Mingyang did indeed get into a big trouble this time, and it was a big trouble that was difficult to solve. It is not impossible to use a trick to win their sympathy and then gather the strength of the entire Zhao family to overcome this difficulty. What's the matter with you? Zhao Tianhao's eyes were startled when he saw Zhao Mingyang coming back like this. He stood up and walked quickly to Zhao Mingyang, hoping to help Zhao Mingyang up. It was at this time. Your hand. He suddenly discovered in disbelief that his so-called invincible son was actually missing an arm. What? Seeing this, everyone in the audience was shocked. When Zhao Mingyang just came back, although he looked very miserable, many people in the Zhao family present felt that Zhao Mingyang was a cruel trick. Because he got into a big disaster, he wanted the Zhao family to pay a big price to help him get through the difficulties. After all, in everyone's eyes, with Zhao Mingyang's reputation and strength, no one in the country should be able to force him into such a tragic situation. But seeing Zhao Mingyang's broken arm, everyone finally couldn't hold back any longer. Because no matter how hard you try, it can't be at the expense of a broken arm. Now it seems that Zhao Mingyang really encountered an unprecedented enemy and ended up with a broken arm. What's going on with Mingyang? Mingyang even broke his arm. Who did this? Didn't I say that Luopan town is just a small town near Yuncheng? How could someone hurt Mingyang like this? Could someone from the Wushu Association take action? One after another, incredible eyes fell on Zhao Mingyang. The more they looked, the more frightened everyone became. In fact, Zhao Mingyang really only had one breath left at this time. After returning, he passed out directly. Everyone could not imagine that in such a remote town, there would be someone with such terrifying strength. Let me check. No matter what, we must find out who injured Mingyang like this. Holding Zhao Mingyang's broken body, the head of the Zhao family, Zhao Tianhao, was furious. Whether it is him or the entire Zhao family, Zhao Mingyang is extremely important, and to a certain extent, it is related to the position of power that the Zhao family will be able to occupy after the great changes. Now Zhao Mingyang actually broke his arm. This is a major blow to the entire Zhao family. Request the best doctors immediately, and look for awakened people who have awakened their medical talents. What happened in Luopan town must be investigated immediately. Find out who hurt Mingyang like this. This time Mingyang is injured like this is a big deal for our entire Zhao family. It is like a head-on challenge to our Zhao family. We should all work together to suppress Mingyang's matter as soon as possible, no matter what the cost. Other clan elders also spoke up at this time, saying that even if Zhao Mingyang got into a big disaster, they had to save him for the sake of the Zhao family. Orders were issued one after another, and the entire Zhao family, this behemoth in Guangcheng, started to move. But Seraph's reputation is too big. Once this matter spreads, they will not be able to completely delete it. Even if Yuan disappears, it will continue to spread on moments and various platforms. They could only increase the intensity of the navy and portray Seraph as a savior hero. In order to protect Luopan town, he paid a serious price, and there were vague rumors that he was seriously injured for this. Various naval forces set up a great rhythm, and it seemed that they were finally having an effect. In such a time of great change, it seems that it is understandable that some surprises will occur. Netizens almost believed it, until Mo Yuan sent the second video. This second video shows the scene where Lu Jinghui confessed to Seraph Zhao Mingyang when he begged for mercy. Moreover, Mo Yuan was very thoughtful and even took pictures of the sonar equipment related to the crime tools. This time, he directly smashed the sailor's face into pieces. One stone stirs up 1,000 waves. I haven't read much, so I can only express myself like this. Awesome Seraph, he actually created a wave of beasts artificially. The Navy also said that he is the savior. To protect mankind. Seraph, stop hammering, your face will be ruined. I recognize this person, Lu Jinghui. He is the second-generation ancestor of the Lu family in Yuncheng. It seems that Seraph found the Lu family and together they created this beast wave. You at all costs to protect humanity. This is clearly killing people and silencing them. 10,000 people's blood letter demands that the Martial Arts Association take action against Seraph. If the Wushu Association doesn't even care about this, then I'd really like it. And Lu Jinghui deserves to die too. The entire network suddenly exploded. Regardless of Douyin, Scarves, Moments, Zihu, and all major platforms, it quickly reached the top of the hot search list. This is a real turmoil of public opinion, and no matter how many Navy forces there are, it cannot be washed away. The news spread back to the Zhao family. Zhao Tianhao was still in pain from Zhao Mingyang's injury. Although he found several awakened people with medical talents, it was impossible to make Zhao Mingyang's arm grow back. Whether missing an arm will affect Seraph's talent is still unknown. But what made him relieved was that Zhao Mingyang's life was finally saved. However, at this moment, one of his men handed him the phone. It's over. At first glance, his whole body was like a lightning strike, and he slowly slumped down on the chair for a long time. In the past, he could still manage to say that it was to kill mutated creatures and accidentally hurt innocent people at a high cost. Now, artificially creating a tide of beasts is a taboo for the Martial Arts Association. The Wushu Association would definitely not let Zhao Mingyang off so easily. The entire Zhao family may be implicated. My father indulged you too much before. Looking at Zhao Mingyang, who was still in a coma, Zhao Tianhao, who had always been a man of fame and fortune, with an iron-blooded image, suddenly seemed much older at this moment, and he couldn't help but have tears in his eyes. He hates Zhao Mingyang deeply, and he also blames and regrets himself. If he had been a little stricter on Zhao Mingyang, he would not have allowed his son to do such irreconcilable things without thinking of the importance. But he only has one son, and he has awakened a third-level talent and become the strongest awakener in the country. How can he be so harsh? Mr. Zhao, there's a call from the Wushu Association, saying, they want us to hand over Mr. Zhao. After a while, his secretary came in with another phone and this time brought him directly. Here comes the desperate news. Luopan town. Yi Bai had just returned from Uncle Shang's house. There was only one daughter left in Uncle Shang's family, her name was Shang Chuqing. She was 18 years old and had just been admitted to the university in Yuncheng. She was originally going to be his junior girl. But he didn't expect that such a thing would happen. Yi Bai also spent a lot of effort to make her a little more emotionally stable. But then, it was getting late, and it was hard for him to stay there alone. He could only leave a sum of money and some awakening crystal cores and go home first. Just when he returned to the door, Yi Bai saw Mo Yuan and the scalper on the steps in front of the door. One person and one cow were watching with their mobile phones. While watching, the scalper was making a cry, which seemed to be, "It's like understanding. Brother Yi, you are back." Hearing the sound of footsteps, Mo Yuan raised his head, and when he saw it was Yi Bai, he said happily, "Come over quickly and watch the show." "What's going on now?" Yi Bai naturally didn't look at his phone when he was accompanying Shang Chuqing, not knowing how the situation would develop. "The Zhao family still wants me to delete the video, but how much does he look down on me, and it's only 100 million. The Liu family has offered you a reward of 200 million, but how about the big family in Guangcheng? That's a big deal." Mo Yuan complained while passing the phone to Yi Bai. "Maybe I thought you were just an ordinary person." Yi Bai took the phone and said, "For ordinary people, this is actually a huge sum of money." At first glance, good guy, this guy Mo Yuan not only took away 100 million but also sent a screenshot. "Hey, I collected this money. It's for Luopen town. This is their compensation. Of course, compensation is compensation. It's impossible for me to delete the video. They also threatened me." They laughed. Mo Yuan, will afraid. Mo Yuan said with an awesome look. "I'm covered by Brother Yi, so what do you think of Seraph? In front of me, Brother Yi, they're just roasting chicken." Yi Bai listened and naturally turned to the next video, and then his face couldn't help but twitch slightly. Mo Yuan, the sixth child, actually posted the video of him beating Seraph. Yi Bai turned to the next video, and under Mo Yuan's Douyin account, he saw the scene of a decisive battle between himself and Seraph. Of course, the part where he was beaten was not released. All that was released were clips of him beating Seraph violently, starting from blowing away Seraph with one punch, to the chain wrapping around Seraph's arm at the back, and Seraph's arm being broken off. Even the title is shocking. Yi Shen beats Seraph violently. Subtitle: Seraph was beaten into a rotten chicken. Although Mo Yuan asked his opinion before, saying that it might reveal some information about him, Yi Bai originally wanted to keep a low profile. What he meant was that he could reveal a little bit and kill Seraph. But he never thought that Mo Yuan would make big news. He checked the playback volume and found that within a few minutes of posting it, it had already exceeded 10 million. With such a large number of views, he may really become famous this time. Ahem, Brother Yi, don't be embarrassed. In my heart, you are just so fierce. Mo Yuan felt a little guilty when he saw Yi Bai turning to the video and then explained repeatedly. The main reason is that you don't know. Some fans of roast chicken are so irritating. They keep boasting about the combat power of roast chicken, who is the #1 awakened person in the country. They also say that such an awakened person should be punished even if he commits something privileged. Originally, I tolerated it. Some people actually said that once this roast chicken is disposed of, no one in our dragon kingdom can resist the foreign awakened ones. This is something that my uncle can tolerate, but even my aunt cannot. I know Brother Yi, you've always kept a low profile, but think about it, you've beaten the roast chicken like that anyway, how can the Zhao family not know your strength? So I think it's better to go out openly and make the scene bigger. Let the Wushu Association let the people across the country see how awesome you are. In this way, the Wushu Association will also protect you. The Zhao family does not dare to deal with it secretly you. Mo Yuan talked a lot, but by the end he was already very convincing and confident. Even so, what name did you change for me? Yi Shen. Yi Bai had no choice but to smile helplessly. I have to say that what this guy said did make sense. Nowadays, the great changes in the world are also accelerating, and presumably the whole world will gradually become unstable. The official side may indeed be considering recruiting some powerful awakeners. Although Zhao Mingyang committed a serious crime, with Seraph's reputation, he might actually be able to be spared his life. Now that Mo Yuan has exposed his strength, the authorities will have to think more if they want to be more lenient with Zhao Mingyang. Hey, isn't Yi Shen pulling the wind? He is a god-like existence. Mo Yuanian, Yi Bai, seemed not to be angry, but he let go and said, in my heart, Brother Yi, you are indeed a god-like existence. This name, I think it's suitable. Why does it sound like a kind of cigarette to me? Yi Bai touched his nose. Don't worry about these details. Mo Yuan thought about it carefully, and it seemed that it was really similar, but soon he said, if it gets really popular in the future, just ask that tobacco company for endorsement fees. Tisk tisk. Brother Yi, look, I'm not talking nonsense, the comments all agree with my name. Yi Bai glanced casually. Holy, I thought the title was sensational at first, but I didn't expect it was really about beating Seraph. It exploded. Seraph was beaten like this by an awakened person whose name he had never heard before. He had to break his arm to escape. Awesome. I think I even saw Seraph being scared to the point of peeing. What's the background of this young hero? Seraph actually looks like a roast chicken in front of him. Didn't you see the title? Such two big words, Yi Shen. Yi Shen is awesome. Broken sound. Yi Shen, I want to give birth to a monkey for you. Haha, where is the roasted chicken noodle? Keep shouting. Didn't you say that your roasted chicken is the strongest awakened person? Didn't you say that your roasted chicken can't do it without the Dragon Kingdom? Ahead of the Dragon Kingdom, roast chicken is prohibited. The likes and comments on this video do seem to be a bit exaggerated. The number is increasing by hundreds or thousands every second, and the comments are indeed so loud that Yi Bai himself feels a little embarrassed. He really wanted to keep a low profile, but unfortunately his strength didn't allow it. This video went viral faster than Mo Yuanfa's first two videos. After all, in this world, one may not necessarily show sympathy to the weak, but the strong will almost always be fanatically pursued. Just like some Genshin Impact fans, although many people usually play in the name of XP Party, they are still very honest when it comes to spending money crazily in front of powerful characters. Just 10 minutes passed, and the hot searches on all major platforms were arranged again. But this time, the word, Yi Shen, became famous all over the country. Even some foreign informants are collecting relevant information. Zhao family in Guangcheng. Zhao Tianhao was on the phone with the Wushu Association. President Zhang, I'll leave it to you this time. If President Zhang needs anything in the future, our Zhao family will definitely do our best to satisfy it. I just hope that President Zhang can keep your dog. For the sake of his son, Zhao Tianhao can be said to be extremely humble. Mr. Zhao, I have made the matter clear to you. The mistake Zhao Mingyang made this time is too big. I am just a vice president, and I cannot make the decision alone. I can only say that Zhao Mingyang must mention at the headquarters of the Wushu Association, it is up to the board of directors to decide how to deal with it. The president of the Wushu Association opposite did not buy it and said straightforwardly. Tomorrow morning, people from our Wushu Association will arrive at your Zhao house. Please prepare. President Zhang, is there really no room for maneuver? Whether it's asking for money or awakening the crystal core, we can negotiate. Zhao Tianhao gritted his teeth and still pleaded. Although Quanzi made a big mistake this time, the Wushu Association, for the sake of him being said to be the strongest awakened person in the Dragon Kingdom today, can you give him a chance to redeem himself and make meritorious deeds? The strongest awakened person in the Dragon Kingdom? That's not necessarily the case. Zhang Kunlun, the vice president of the Wushu Association opposite, said with some fun, you probably haven't noticed the latest news. You can go to Douyin yourself later. Take a look. After that, he hung up the phone without saying anything more. Zhao Tianhao's face turned gloomy when he heard the busy signal over there. He did not expect that Zhang Kunlun, who had always been in contact with the Zhao family, would not give him face this time. What's not sure? Then, he thought of Zhang Kunlun's last words, immediately called his secretary, and asked in a deep voice, did Mo Yuan send anything else? Yes. The secretary looked a little hesitant at this time. He was holding the phone and was a little afraid to hand it to Zhao Tianhao. Bring it here, Zhao Tianhao shouted. He also knew that things must have gone in a worse direction, otherwise Zhang Kunlun would not have reacted this way. But no matter what, he still has to face reality. No matter how bad things are, they still have to be solved. How is this possible? Even so, after seeing the video on the secretary's cell phone, the current head of the Zhao family couldn't help but feel as if he was petrified, and looked at it in disbelief. Mobile phone, I haven't been able to catch my breath for a long time. Before seeing this video, Zhao Tianhao could comfort himself that his son might have been injured in some accident or encountered a powerful mutated creature that led to his broken arm. Externally, he can still maintain his image as the strongest awakened person. But now that this video came out, his thoughts were completely gone. The last fig leaf of the Zhao family was ripped off. He finally understood. No wonder Zhang Kunlun, the vice president of the Wushu Association who had always had a good relationship with the Zhao family, would have such an attitude. Obviously, the one the Zhao family is offending now is Yi Shen. A stronger awakener than his son Seraph. And a perfect victim. The Wushu Association is very clear on how to choose. What makes Zhao Tianhao even more uncomfortable is that his son, whom he has always been proud of, was actually called a roast chicken, and his embarrassed escape was seen by the whole country. From then on, his Zhao family lost all faith in the upper class. Go and find out all the information about this Yi Shen immediately. He took a deep breath, finally calmed himself down, and then gave the order. But this time, what he wants to do may not be revenge, but beg for mercy. Yuncheng, Lu family. In the luxurious living room. Lu Wanzhong, the usually calm helmsman of the Lu family, at this moment, his hand holding the teacup was unusually unsteady. Boom! The teacup fell to the ground and broke into pieces, and the tea spilled all over the floor. Master, are you okay? One of Lu Wanzhong's subordinates came in from the door after hearing the voice and asked respectfully. Lu Wanzhong's face was gloomy, and after a long time he asked loudly, is there any news about Jingwei? Not yet, the young master's call is still unanswered. The confidant replied cautiously. Our people can't get into Luopan town, so it's difficult to investigate. You go out first. Lu Wanzhong's heart became heavier again, and he waved his hand and said. Yes, the confidant replied, hesitating to speak, but still slowly withdrew. Yi Bai, how could he be so strong? Lu Wanzhong was left alone in the huge room again. He grabbed the armrest with his hands, and the redwood on it was slowly moving under his strength, is undergoing deformation. It can be seen that his strength is also extraordinary. But Lu Wanzhong knew in his heart that even if he were twice as strong, he would never be Yi Bai's opponent. Could it be that God is really going to destroy my Lu family? Lu Wanzhong felt very unwilling in his heart. How could he have thought that Yi Bai, who was originally unknown and came from a remote town, would be so powerful? It turned out that he had never underestimated Yi Bai from the beginning. He treated Yi Bai like a lion fighting a rabbit at the beginning, and he tried his best. He sent out assassins twice in a row, spent 200 million, and hired Master Yang, the strongest man in Yuncheng at the time, in order to kill him with one strike. He even got involved with the Zhao family in Guangcheng. He sent all his sons to accompany this eldest young master in order to deal with Yi Bai without fail and avoid future troubles. It can be said that he thinks that his foresight, decision-making, and skill are not inferior to those of families in big cities. In time, under his leadership, the Lu family may not be able to compare with a big family like the Zhao family in Guangcheng. As a result, Seraph was actually forced by Yi Bai to break his arm and escape. Even now the entire Zhao family is caught in the whirlpool of the storm. But Seraph. On the surface, he is the strongest awakener in the country. In comparison, what does his son kneeling down and begging for mercy mean? Master, the body has been sent back. At this moment, the confidant who had just left not long ago returned again and brought sad news. It seems that for the sake of his classmates, Yi Bai still left a whole body for Lu Jinghui and had it sent back to the Lu family. Bang! After hearing the news, Lu Wanzhong finally couldn't hold himself any longer. He exerted force with his palms and the entire armrest of the chair was scratched to pieces. Although he also guessed that his only son was in danger, but when he really confirmed the news, he still felt extremely sad and his body was slightly trembling. What makes it even more difficult for him to accept is that now even the Zhao family in Guangcheng cannot protect itself. He can say that he has no means of revenge against Yi Bai. Instead, he needs to worry about Yi Bai's revenge in the future. Yuncheng, Lin family. Lin Qingwan was standing by the lotus pond in the garden. A pair of eyes looked at the pool in front of him. Yes, what she was looking at was not the lotus flowers on the pond, nor the goldfish in the water, she was simply looking at the clear water in the pond. Suddenly, she closed her eyes, and the temperature around her suddenly dropped suddenly, as if the hot summer in June suddenly turned into the cold winter of December. There seemed to be some snowflakes falling around her. Then, Lin Qingyuan closed her eyes like this, and slowly stepped out towards the pool in front of her. 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps. Until she fell into the pool, she asked Yuzu to step on the water. Ah! The servant at home who was watching not far away opened his mouth wide and almost screamed. But the servant soon discovered that Lin Qingyuan was standing firmly on the water, as if floating on it, which looked very strange. What made her feel even more incredible was that the young lady in her family still closed her eyes and continued walking towards the middle of the lotus pond step by step, as if walking on flat ground. Of course, if she got closer to take a closer look, she should be able to find that Lin Qingyuan was not performing any kind of Kingbo Weebu Qinggong at this moment, but that a layer of ice would condense under her feet with every step she took. Lin Qingyuan walks on the water by stepping on ice. Okay. Suddenly, a voice sounded along with applause from the other side of the lotus pond. Hearing the sound, Lin Qingyuan stood in the middle of the lotus pond, and then slowly opened her eyes, but she still stood firmly on the water, motionless. The visitor was none other than her third uncle Lin Xicheng, who had the best relationship with her. Since the Great Change, the two of them have hunted mutant lizards together. When she encountered danger in the Liu family, it was her third uncle who rushed to protect her immediately. Later, they went out together to hunt dozens of mutant creatures. Today, Lin Xicheng has become the second most powerful person in the entire Lin family after her father, leading a powerful team of awakeners. Qingyuan, your development of ice talent seems to be getting better and better. This subtle control ability shows that you have reached an extremely high stage. Now, I'm afraid you can't even fight against sea-level mutant creatures on your own. The problem is not big anymore. Looking at his niece who looked like a lotus fairy in the lotus pond, Lin Xicheng said with a smile. If you want me to see Zhao Mingyang, you don't need to say anything, I won't go. Lin Qingyuan just replied lightly. Qingyuan, who do you think I am, your third uncle? Hearing this, Lin Xicheng's smile became even brighter. He looked at his niece with some fun and said, it seems that your cultivation is really too good. You're so diligent, I'm afraid you haven't seen today's news, right? What news? Lin Qingyuan was a little surprised by Lin Xicheng's attitude. It can be said to be breaking news that you would never have thought of. Lin Xicheng laughed loudly. Seraph Zhao Mingyang was defeated. He was defeated miserably and even broke his arm. And you happen to know the person who defeated him. Zhao Mingyang was defeated. Lin Qingyuan couldn't help but be startled. At the same time, for some reason, a figure naturally appeared in her mind. Lin Qingyuan is still very clear about Seraph's strength and status. She has seen the video of the first awakened person in the Dragon Kingdom. As an element awakened person, she also knows very well how difficult it is to achieve this level. It can be said that the strength of this one definitely matches the famous one. At least even after these days of hard training, her mastery of talents has been further improved, and she can now walk on the water as if on flat ground, but she still does not have the confidence to face Seraph. So Lin Qingyuan was still shocked when she heard that Seraph Zhao Mingyang was defeated. And she didn't know why, but she intuitively felt that Yi Bai would be the one to defeat Seraph. It can't be him. But soon, she denied it in her heart. Although Yi Bai's previous display of strength was also very strong, in her opinion, there was still a long way to go before he could reach Seraph's level. However, it was hard for her to think of anyone else who could defeat an awakened person of this level, and it was someone she knew. She really couldn't think of anyone. Yes, he was defeated by someone you know. You can make a bold guess. Lin Xicheng looked at his niece who looked a little strange and said with a smile. In fact, he knew that Lin Qingyuan must have thought of that person just now. But it must be the same as him, who can't believe it. When he just saw this video posted by Mo Yuanfa, he was so surprised that his eyes almost fell out, thinking that he had seen it wrong. He never imagined that this young man who he thought had too much appetite would actually possess such terrifying strength. That's Seraph. The one who can defeat this nominally number one awakened person in the country will be the new number one awakened person in the Dragon Kingdom. Lin Shicheng thought about it and found that the condition proposed by the other party seemed very reasonable. I don't know. Lin Qingyuan really couldn't think of anything, so she just shook her head slightly, and then murmured, "It would be great if I had this strength." In fact, these days, she has been trying her best to improve herself. Whether she is practicing the manipulation of elements day and night, or frantically hunting mutant creatures to obtain awakening crystal cores, it is all to make herself stronger until she can control her own destiny. There is no need to be forced by the family to meet people you don't want to see like now. Yes, after knowing that Zhao Mingyang came to Yuncheng, some of the old-fashioned elders in the family couldn't wait to let her go and get to know him. There is even great hope that she can marry this Seraph. This made her very disgusted. It also makes her work harder. She needs to show the strength that convinces the entire family, letting the family know that she does not need to rely on others, and that she can also help the family gain a firm foothold in the world after great changes. Hee, you must have thought of it, but you are not sure. At this time, Lin Shicheng laughed loudly and threw a mobile phone to Lin Qingyuan in the center of the lotus pond. The lotus pond was quite wide, and his accuracy was average. In the end, he was still several meters away from Lin Qingyuan. The phone was about to fall into the water. But soon, a piece of ice floe appeared below the phone that fell into the water, held it up, and then quickly floated towards Lin Qingyuan. Bang bang bang. Immediately, the ice floe rose from the water and turned into an ice sculpture, reaching a height within Lin Qingyuan's reach. Lin Qingyuan picked up her phone and took a look. It was playing a Douyin video of Yi Bai and Seraph Zhao Mingyang fighting on it. At a glance, the ice sculpture carrying the phone also fell into the water with a crash. The water in the lotus pond splashed, and a snow lotus bloomed, floating motionless on the water, lifelike. It's really him. Looking at that war god-like figure, Lin Qingyuan's heart was filled with shocking ripples, and the expression on her face was as stagnant as an ice lotus at that moment. What she couldn't imagine turned out to be reality. I can't believe it, your classmate has actually grown to this level. Lin Shicheng on the shore also sighed. Then, he looked at Lin Qingyuan from the shore and said with a smile. Actually, I said, Qingyuan, you can ask him now, if he is still interested in becoming the son-in-law of our Lin family. With his current status as the first awakened person in the Dragon Kingdom, I think your dad and those old guys should very happy. Hearing this, Lin Qingyuan's pretty face suddenly turned red, as beautiful as the stamens in the lotus in the water. That night, Luopan town has become completely quiet, and you can vaguely hear some cicadas chirping, and what sounds like frogs croaking. The evening breeze from the countryside blew gently on my face. Yi Bai finished practicing the great thunder sound breathing technique and slowly opened his eyes. I picked up the phone on the side and looked at it. There were some unread messages. Naturally, he ignored some news from his classmates. Most of them told him how awesome he was, and he was almost tired of it. As awesome as he is, it can no longer be described as awesome. If he really had to describe it, he hoped to use male organs. But there was one classmate he felt he couldn't ignore. That was classmate Lin Qingyuan. Are you there? If you say you want to treat me to dinner, then I will definitely be there. If you say you want to borrow money, then I won't be here. If you don't say anything, I have to think about it first before answering your question. Yi Bai smiled slightly, mouthed for a moment. Although she was used to Yi Bai's irregularity, Lin Qingyuan remained silent for a moment. Of course, I have guessed what you are looking for me for. You must want to congratulate me for defeating Seraph and becoming the first awakened person in the Dragon Kingdom, right? But no, there are too many people congratulating me today. If you want to sign or take a group photo, you can say. Yi Bai said with a smile and typed a bunch of words. Lin Qingyuan, you are too narcissistic. If you don't love yourself, how can you love each other and how can you benefit your lover? Yi Bai started humming directly. Lin Qingyuan said again. I really didn't expect you to be able to defeat Seraph, but this time, you have forged a big feud with the Zhao family in Guangcheng. Are you afraid of loving me? Yi Bai sang another non-mainstream song with his voice. Lin Qingyuan, not afraid. Soon, it was withdrawn. Yi Bai, Lin Qingyuan, don't be afraid of 10,000, just be afraid of the unexpected. You'd better be careful. Yi Bai, I saw it. Lin Qingyuan, but I received news that the Wushu Association is planning to deal with Zhao Mingyang, and the Zhao family is trying their best to protect him, but the effect is not great. Yi Bai, what did you withdraw just now? Lin Qingwan, you are the first awakened person in the Dragon Kingdom, don't be so naive. Yi Bai, yes, I am just naive. I'm just so naive to like a girl like you. Lines. Lin Qingwan suddenly said, my father wants to invite you to the Lin family for a meal. Quote. Yi Bai was shocked. He didn't expect that he was just talking about it and didn't take any action, and now he was about to meet his parents. In fact, he and Lin Qingyuan are still in an ambiguous state, and their relationship has not even been confirmed yet. Having dinner with Lin Qingwan's father, in what capacity do you go? If it was before, he really wouldn't dare to go there rashly, but now. You don't have to think too much. Maybe my father just wants to see you because you defeated Seraph. You can refuse, Lin Qingwan said. Go, since it's the future father-in-law who invites you. If I don't give him face, it will be difficult to get along with him in the future. Yi Bai was indeed more confident in himself now, and there was nothing to be ashamed of, so he immediately replied with a smile. Moreover, he happened to want to go back to Yuncheng. The affairs of the Lu family are not over yet. Even though Lu Jinghui is hateful, he still needs to have a good chat with the person who offered a reward of 200 million to kill him. I'll tell you when the arrangements are made. On the other side of the screen, looking at the message Yi Bai sent back, Lin Qingwan couldn't help but blush again on her face. Although she had always wanted to get closer to Yi Bai in the past, Yi Bai never spoke, and she always felt that there was something wrong between the two. And sometimes she couldn't see through Yi Bai. If you are not serious, will you just talk about your feelings casually? Now this man has become the first awakened person in the Dragon Kingdom. Look at the comments on Douyin. There are so many people who want to have children with him. Do you still have the same status in his heart? However, these thoughts only last for a moment. You have your copper branches and iron trunks, like knives, swords, and halberds. I have my red flowers, like heavy sighs, and like heroic torches. Putting down her mobile phone, Lin Qingwan used her own. The voice I just heard was whispering softly. This is a poem, to the oak, that she likes very much, and it is also her outlook on life. She and Yi Bai are both individuals. No matter how their relationship develops, she is confident that she will never lose herself. On Yi Bai's side, he also put down his cell phone. For a moment, I felt happy. I couldn't help but whistle all the way to the shower. When he passed by Mo Yuan's room, the latter couldn't help but sniff his nose and murmured, why do I smell a sour smell? Soon, the night passed. When he woke up early the next morning, Yi Bai's mother Liang Qianru had already prepared breakfast. Mom, I'm probably going back to Yuncheng in the next 2 days. Yi Bai finished washing, sat down and took a bite of fried dough sticks, and then said casually. Oh, it's been a while since you've been back. I'm afraid your company won't want you if you go back. Liang Qianru said nonchalantly. Ahem, it shouldn't be a big problem. Yi Bai was drinking soy milk and couldn't help but choked when he heard this. In fact, he had no job. He could only fight monsters, explode things, and sell white rabbit toffee. How to live your life. Hee, don't worry, Auntie. What is our brother Yi's identity now? The strongest awakener in the Dragon Kingdom. Where else do we need to do more work? Mo Yuan on the side also bit into the fried dough sticks with a smile, said. Even if you are the strongest awakened person, the country should not give you any money. Yi's father, Yi Demon, asked in a strange voice. I heard people in the town say, Xiao Bai, you seem to have given a lot of money to the townspeople who sacrifice themselves. The people make pensions. Anyway, parents, don't worry. Now your son, I am indeed not short of money. As for how he got it, Yi Bai thought about how to explain. I know, you're here to eat soft food. Mo Yuan on the side responded first. Uncle and aunt, you don't know yet, right? Brother Yi has hooked up with a rich and beautiful girl, the daughter of the Lin family in Yuncheng, our school beauty. That's a lot of money. Hearing this, Yi Bai quickly stepped on Mo Yuan under the table. But when he thought about it, this explanation seemed quite reasonable. What are you doing, isn't it? I saw you whistling in the shower last night. The last time I saw you so coquettish was the last time. Mo Yuan said with a smile. don't think about it, you must have had an in-depth communication with our school beauty. You can't spit out ivory from your dog's mouth. Yi Bai cursed, picked up a fried dough stick and stuffed the guy's mouth directly. Xiao Bai, is this true? Are you really dating a girlfriend? Liang Qianru's eyes suddenly lit up. Like many mothers, she is always thinking about when her son can have a baby. Wife comes home. Ahem, I'm a classmate. Mom, don't listen to Mo Yuan's nonsense. We haven't really confirmed the relationship yet. Yi Bai coughed twice more. Facing the expectant looks in his parents' eyes, he finally bit the bullet and added, okay, when I go back this time, I might go to Lin's house and meet her father. Okay, Liang Qianru was overjoyed, and she even stood up and made a bun for Yi Bai herself, smiling broadly, this is a great event. It's my first time to go to my future father-in-law's house, so I can't be rude. I'll think of some gifts for you later. Go. Now that the world has changed a lot and spiritual energy has revived, how about I buy a weapon and send it to my future in-laws? I picked up some materials for mutated creatures before, and I thought I could pack something. Yi Demon also volunteered. I think this is good. Uncle, if you have time, give me a pair of boxing gloves. Mo Yuan said politely with a smile while eating. Well, yes, Xiao Yuan, you brought good news this time, so you should be rewarded. Liang Qianru agreed on Yi Demon's behalf. Dad, Mom, I haven't even written my horoscope yet, and I've just graduated, how anxious are you all? Yi Bai's face twitched, it was as if he was going to get engaged. However, Liang Qianru and Yi Demon ignored his objections and just chatted with Mo Yuan about various details, making him look like an outsider. Helpless, Yi Bai had no choice but to take out his phone and browse the news. With this brush, he discovered something big. The Wushu Association once again issued a national announcement. The announcement stated that mutated organisms have been attacking human settlements in many places across the country. Compared with the previous situation where it was difficult to find even a mutated creatures can now be found everywhere. A warning was also issued to reduce travel, especially not to wilderness areas, otherwise unpredictable dangers may arise. Finally, this time the Wushu Association has also brought hope to the people of the country who have awakened low-level talents, elementary cultivation techniques. Yi Bai clicked into the attachment to check. This seemed to be a set of training techniques from ancient martial arts. It mainly used some specific movements and more training. It was said that it could strengthen the body and improve the quality of the body. After research, it has a certain enhancement effect on individual talents. However, after all, it was only for the elementary level. This kind of thing that everyone could practice, Yi Bai felt that it would have no effect. When he saw that his parents were still arguing with Mo Yuan and Hu Tianhai, he walked to the yard. He also tried this basic training technique against the attachments provided by the Wushu Association. After just one exercise, he could actually feel his body heating up and his blood faintly boiling. After beating it a few more times and feeling it carefully, I did find that there seemed to be a slightly less obvious increase in strength. Of course, if compared with his big thunder breathing method, it is definitely incomparable, and little thunder breathing method is also far inferior, but this also shows that the world has really changed. With this universal cultivation method, even cultivators who have awakened D-level talents will surpass ordinary people in the future. From now on, we enter an era of universal evolution. Although the announced techniques are only elementary ones, the Martial Arts Association should also have intermediate, advanced, or even more advanced ones. I wonder if there will be something more powerful than my big thunder breathing technique. Yi Bai had a slight sense of crisis. After the great changes, the Wushu Association is in charge of the whole country and now has too many resources at its disposal. It's hard to say whether there might be some genius monsters hidden inside. Of course, he also knows that his talent is unparalleled, and he may not be able to develop a stronger training method than the big thunder breathing technique in the future. Come to think of it, I haven't released any good stuff for a while since the last beast wave. I don't know why. There haven't been many mutated animals visiting Luopan town recently. I just went back to Cloud City to see if there is any chance to spawn monsters. Thinking of this, Yi Bai also had a direction in his heart. Boom. Right now, suddenly, an explosion came from not far from his home, where a fire burst into the sky from a house. It's Chuqing's family. Seeing this, Yi Bai's face changed slightly and he immediately ran away. Before Uncle Shang died, he had been entrusted with taking care of this school girl. If anything happened to Shang Chuqing in the town, he would feel guilty for the rest of his life. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.